In the last days, starting by taking care of your aunt, you will have many children and receive many blessings. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 151 The Little Girl's Thoughts. When the female zombie suddenly appeared in front of Hanyu, her heart was shocked and she couldn't help but panic. She was well aware of the zombie's strength, a terrifying force that forced her to abandon her base. At this moment, the zombie was standing in front of her. Fortunately, standing next to the zombie was Lin Chen, the strong man she relied on. With Lin Chen here, the fear in Hanyu's heart eased a little, but if Lin Chen hadn't been there, she would have escaped long ago. Everyone was also shocked by the sudden appearance of a female zombie, but they quickly recovered from the shock and began to whisper and discuss. Look at the zombie's skin. It's amazingly delicate. It's even better than our human skin. If I hadn't known she was a zombie in advance, I might have mistakenly thought she was just one of us. To be honest, if this zombie wouldn't infect humans, I would even find her more attractive than a human girl. Damn it, are you interested? You're just coveting other people's bodies. You're despicable. Damn it, you actually want to communicate with zombies. I've seen shameless people. I've never seen such shameless people. At this moment, Lin Chen stepped forward and answered everyone's questions with his calm and powerful voice. Hello everyone, I'm Lin Chen. Please don't panic. Although she is a zombie, she will not hurt you. Lin Chen's handsome appearance and magnetic voice immediately attracted many people present. However, this also led to some misunderstandings. Many people naturally thought that Lin Chen, who is living with zombies, must also be a zombie. You said she won't hurt us because she won't hurt us? Who do you think you are? Lin Chen? I've never heard of that yet. I think something's not right with you. Are you a zombie too, Master Yu? I think we can't trust this guy named Lin Chen. Maybe he is in the same group as the zombies. For safety reasons, we should control him. Hearing these ignorant and ridiculous remarks, Hanyu was so angry that she almost vomited blood. These people don't even look at what they rely on to survive. So he turned around and started to explain. Everyone, this is the new owner of our base, Lin Chen. Lord Lin Chen. Not only is he not a zombie, he is also a great benefactor to all of us. If you have any opinions, you can put them forward now. But there's an ugly thing I said before. Anyone who dares to raise an opinion, I'm sorry, you must leave this base. Then I will announce one more thing. From today on, I will accompany Mr. Lin Chen. The words fell. Although everyone has some inner dissatisfaction, since the leader of the base, Hanyu, has spoken publicly, they can only swallow their dissatisfaction silently. Lin Chen stood aside, keenly aware of everyone's doubts and dissatisfaction with him. He understands that he is still too young and will inevitably make people feel unreliable. So, he stepped forward and said in a firm and decisive tone, since Hanyu has announced his decision, I will not say anything more. I have always been straightforward. Since this base is now under my management, then the rules are ironclad. As long as you abide by them, we will be fine. But if anyone dares to challenge my bottom line and cause me trouble, then I will let you experience the feeling of life being worse than death. As he said that, Lin Chen turned his eyes to the north gate of the base, which was in ruins under the gaze of everyone. A large amount of steel, metal and defensive weapons suddenly appeared in the open space in front of him. Then, in just a few seconds, a solid wall 20 meters high and 5 meters thick rose out of thin air, tightly surrounding the entire base. This almost miraculous operation made everyone present stunned, and those who were originally dissatisfied could not help but feel awe. At this moment Lin Chen did not stop. He then announced, this is the first reward for you. Rebuild our base. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Chen took Hanyu and Hanzu up into the sky and flew into the sky. Everyone looked at this scene in astonishment. They couldn't believe their eyes. Could it be said that this young man actually has the strength of the powerful Daozong described in the novel? Being able to walk through the air is simply incredible. Lin Chen, who was suspended in the air, looked at the shocked people below and said calmly, next, I will give you the second reward, seeds. From today on, I will lend you various seeds, including potatoes and various food crops. You can plant them according to your needs. He paused and his tone suddenly became stern. But I must make one thing clear first. If you cannot repay these seeds twice as much next spring, your end will be like that dilapidated house. As he spoke, he looked at the dilapidated house next to him again. As his words fell, the house suddenly made a loud rumbling noise, then collapsed completely and disappeared. Just when everyone was shocked speechless by the series of surprises, they suddenly found that it started to rain. However, this is no ordinary rain, but a rain of seeds. Countless seeds fell from the sky, like a magical gift, which was incredible at this moment. Everyone's faces were filled with surprise and gratitude. They looked up to the sky one after another, as if they were worshipping a generous god. Their gratitude to Lin Chen was beyond words. They knew that the arrival of this new base owner would bring about earth-shaking changes in their lives. When Han Yu led the base, although she took good care of everyone, the difficult environment in the last days made food scarce, and many people often suffered from hunger. Moreover, the threat of zombies is always there, making people's lives full of fear and uneasiness. But now, with the arrival of Lin Chen, everything seems to have turned for the better. They no longer need to go out in groups to look for food. They can just farm with peace of mind and harvest enough food. This kind of life makes them feel more stable and satisfied than ever before. At this moment, a little girl couldn't help but pull the sleeve of her father next to her, and said expectantly, "Father, can I go with Mr. Lin Chen? I like him so much." The man next to her heard her daughter's words, hurriedly covered her mouth with his hand and whispered, "You are only 17 years old. You are still too young." "But I'm not young anymore." The girl turned away stubbornly. Many people have already done a lot of things at this age. When Lin Chen heard the conversation between the father and daughter, he couldn't help but twitch the corners of his mouth slightly. He walked slowly to the girl, knelt down to look at her level, and said gently, "Little beauty, I know you admire me very much and want to follow me, but you are still young now, and you may not understand many things yet. So, when you are 1 year older and more mature, I will take you away, okay? Then don't lie to me, won't?" As soon as these words came out, the 17-year-old girl completely remembered them. In the days after she turns 18, a shadowy boy walking through the air will come to find her, take her away. Chapter 152. The target of public criticism. After completing the reconstruction of the base and the distribution of seeds, Lin Chen left the base with Han Yu, Hanzu and Moira. He handed over the management of the base to Han Fei, who had just been beaten into pig's head by him. Although Han Fei was very reluctant to do this at first, when he learned that Lin Chen would take good care of the woman he liked, he reluctantly accepted the arrangement. In Han Fei's view, loving her means letting her live a happier life, even if it means temporarily letting go of control of the base. Just a few steps away from the base, Moira looked at Lin Chen with eyes full of stars, and said excitedly, "Sir Lin Chen, your performance just now is so handsome, so handsome. I want to kneel down to you on the spot." Hearing Moira's praise, Lin Chen just smiled faintly and responded, "Okay, if you want to kneel, you don't have to kneel here. Let's go home together first. Then we can slowly go to your dwarf tribe, okay? Everything depends on Master Lin Chen." Moira's face was filled with a happy smile, and she agreed without hesitation. Seeing this scene, Han Yu and Hanzu were both stunned. They thought they had taken the initiative, but in front of the dwarf princess, they were obviously still too shy. As a result, the two of them unconsciously got closer to Lin Chen. At the same time, on Lin Chen's way back to Luo City, a team of several people was performing a mission in a city near Luo City. They were agile and quick, and they were able to cut off the head of a level 6 zombie with one blow. Boom! The zombie's head fell to the ground, but the team members did not relax their vigilance. 007. How long do we have to look for? Where is Lin Chen? A blonde foreign woman asked with a slightly dissatisfied tone. Her blonde hair shone charmingly in the sun, but her face was full of anxiety and exhaustion. At this moment, the man known as 007 has golden hair fluttering gently in the wind. He frowned and replied, "Do you think I don't want to find him? This damn Dragon Kingdom, a town is bigger than our small state. If the area hadn't been so vast, we wouldn't have been looking for so long." Just then, a phone ringing broke the silence between them. 007 quickly picked up the phone, and orders from his superiors came from the other end of the phone. 007, 008, 010, 015, "Have you found Lin Chen?" The voice on the other end of the phone was serious and urgent. Upon hearing this voice, 2 female and 2 male members of the team immediately knelt down on one knee to show respect. "Sir, my subordinate is incompetent. We have indeed not found Lin Chen yet." 007 lowered his head and replied, with a hint of guilt in his tone, "It's not entirely your fault after all. We know very little about Lin Chen, but now the situation has changed." The person on the other end of the phone continued, "The little Japan Empire just proposed to cooperate with us. According to them, Lin Chen is currently in the imperial capital, but his base camp is in Luo City. Therefore, I now order you to go to Luo City immediately to join forces with his Iori Empire to deal with Lin Chen." At this point, the tone of the person on the other end of the phone became even more angry. "But what I want to emphasize is that he must not be killed. He must be captured alive." This is the order of the Prime Minister. Remember, this kid must be protected by our empire. Capture when necessary. You can use all necessary means, including killing people from the Japanese Empire." Hearing this, 007's expression changed slightly, but he quickly regained his composure. He replied piously, "Received. Guarantee to complete the task." Then, the other end of the phone explained in detail about Lin Chen's specific abilities and matters needing attention before hanging up the phone. They also confirmed their action plan and contact information after hanging up the phone. The blonde woman couldn't wait to ask, 007, "Shall we leave now?" There was a firm light in her eyes, and she was obviously fully prepared. 007 nodded, quickly packed up his equipment, and led the team members on the journey to Los Angeles. In a hidden forest near Luo City, two members of the Akatsuki organization from the Little Japan Empire were talking in a low voice. "Zingli, why should we tell other empires about Lin Chen? Isn't this causing trouble for ourselves?" A man with a mustache named King Shujian frowned and asked in confusion. "As an elite member of the Akatsuki organization, he has his own pride and dignity. He is used to performing tasks alone and does not like to cooperate with others." Zingli, a calm and beautiful woman, glanced at him lightly and replied, "King Shujian, have you forgotten the original intention of our coming out? Our goal is to take down Lin Chen, no matter what method is used. Unlike other empires, cooperation is just to increase our chances of success." Shimizu Ken was silent for a moment after hearing this, and then nodded, "Okay, I understand. Now that the Akatsuki organization has been dispatched, it means that our Zioni Empire has indeed reached a critical moment of survival." Akatsuki organization. This name represents mystery and power in the Zioni Empire. It originates from the ancient ninja village legend, and among the senior leaders of the Zioni Empire. This is not a legend, but a real power. The Akatsuki organization is famous for its powerful strength. It is said that during the Warring States period, members of the Akatsuki organization once destroyed a country with one person. As time goes by, the strength of the members of the Akatsuki organization becomes more and more unfathomable. Zingli's appearance undoubtedly shows the current predicament of the Ziori Empire for the benefit of the country. They even invited the mermaid tribe behind them, a powerful force in the underground world. Just as Zingli and King Shujian were talking, there was a slight sizzling sound. This sound is extremely weak and almost difficult to capture. They didn't react until they got close to them, and immediately looked around alertly, but didn't find anything unusual. "Do you feel it?" King Shujian asked doubtfully, with a trace of imperceptible nervousness in his voice. Zingli didn't speak, but her sharp eyes were scanning around, trying to catch any unusual movement. She frowned slightly, as if trying to discern some subtle changes in the air. "I didn't feel anything clearly, but there seemed to be a looming presence around me. It felt like someone was observing in secret, but it didn't seem like a human breath." Her words made King Shujian nervous. He looked around, but saw nothing. However, Anri's intuition is never wrong, which is one of the reasons why she is highly respected in the Akatsuki organization. Suddenly, Zingli's brows furrowed and she looked in one direction with blazing eyes. "No, the smell there is weird. It's not human, it's Chapter 153 Fishman Tribe." "What is that?" King Shujian on the side asked with a puzzled face, his eyes fixed on some imperceptible movement in front of him. "What do you think?" A sudden voice echoed around him, like a ghostly whisper. Shimizu Ken turned his head sharply, trying to find the source of the sound. "Who is it?" However, before he and Zingli came back to their senses, a chill quietly climbed up their necks. They reached out to touch it in unison, but they only felt a cold, hard metal texture. An ice blade was already pressed tightly against their necks. "Your Excellency, you must be the senior of the Fishmen tribe, right?" Zingli asked tentatively, with a hint of trembling in her voice. "Anri, this name is famous in the Akatsuki organization, and she is one of the strongest people in the organization." However, at this moment, she could not conceal her inner surprise. She really couldn't think of anyone else who could control her without her noticing, except for super organizations in the underground world such as the Fishmen. "Oh, you knew I was coming," a charming voice sounded in my ears, which seemed to be a bit playful. "Yet, the Prime Minister specifically told us to respect the seniors of the fish people." Zingli responded hurriedly, beads of sweat already forming on her forehead. "Not bad, you are quite polite." The Fishman senior chuckled and slowly removed the ice blade from their necks. "For the sake of the Prime Minister of the Japanese Empire, I will let you go today." King Shuken and Anli both breathed a sigh of relief. Only then did they dare to raise their heads and take a closer look at this unexpected fish-human senior. Her skin was as white as jade, even more delicate than a baby's skin. Looking from bottom to top, her body was covered with colorful scales, which shone charmingly in the sunlight. Her tail is also colorful, As beautiful as a mermaid, such a beauty made even the well-informed Ken Shimizu feel a little moved. However, before he could take a few more glances, a cold voice rang in his ears. "Get your stinky eyes away from me, or don't blame me for being cruel." King Shu Ken hurriedly looked away, secretly glad that he reacted quickly enough, otherwise the consequences would be disastrous. Zingli also came to her senses at this moment. She knew that the strength of this fishman senior was unfathomable, so she did not dare to neglect him at all. "Thank you for your magnanimity," Shimizu Ken said respectfully. "We will definitely convey your goodwill to the Prime Minister HMPH. Hurry up and set off. I will follow you behind." After the fishman senior said these words coldly, he turned into a streak of colorful light and disappeared. Only King Shu Ken and Zingli were left looking at each other, their hearts filled with awe and doubt. At the same time, Lin Chen had quickly returned to his villa in Luo City together with the dwarf Princess Moira, the Han sisters Han Yu and Han Zhu, and the female zombie Han Jiai. Since the three women all had special powers, Lin Chen did not hold anything back and instead increased his flying speed. It didn't take long before they arrived at their destination. However, such high speed flight made the three women feel dizzy. Are we already there? I feel like I'm going to die just now." Moira, as the strongest superpower among the three women, could not help but exclaim at this moment. Obviously surprised by such flying speed, Han Yu ran to the side and couldn't help but vomited. Master Lin Chen, can you fly slower next time? You are flying too fast like this. I really can't stand it," she said breathlessly, obviously not recovering from the flight just now. Hanzu's cheeks turned red, and she looked at Lin Chen with wide eyes. "Sir Lin Chen, you fly so fast, but I like this feeling so much," she said excitedly, her eyes flashing with admiration for Lin Chen. The female zombie Han Jiai looked pale and kept stroking her chest, trying to soothe herself. "Are you really a human? This speed is faster than any flying superpower I have ever seen. I feel like I can't bear it anymore," she exclaimed, unbelievable at Lin Chen's flying ability. Seeing the different reactions of the three women, Lin Chen just smiled and didn't say much. At this moment, the door of the villa suddenly opened, and Suyun, Chen Lili, Yan Siqi and others ran out of it. When they saw Lin Chen coming back with a newcomer, they all had complicated expressions on their faces. "Lord Lin Chen, where did you kidnap so many beauties? Wait, that seems to be a dwarf, right? Lord Lin Chen likes dwarfs with such small proportions." "Well, that's not just a dwarf, it's a dwarf race. It's not us humans, and even though she is so short, she is fat where she should be fat, and she is thin where she should be thin, which is not nice to say. We may not be able to match her chatting skills. Moreover, I heard that the dwarves all have a racial talent, which seems to be acceleration. What if she uses this talent when chatting with Master Lin Chen? Aren't you going to make Lin Chen fascinated and dote on her exclusively? Oh, I'm so envious." But having said that, Lin Chen's husband is really working too hard. He works hard every day for the reproduction of humans and other races. Without him, what would these races do? What would we do? What to do? Everyone was talking about it, and they enthusiastically greeted Han Jiai, Han Yu, Han Zhu, and Moira. Although Lin Chen always brings new faces when he comes back, everyone has become accustomed to it in this big family. No matter who Lin Chen brings back, they will be treated like family members. After all, in this chaotic era, without Lin Chen's protection and care, these women might have suffered an even more unfortunate fate. Therefore, whenever new members join, everyone will welcome them from the bottom of their hearts and hope that they can find their true destination in happiness. Here, when Chen Lili gently held the hand of the female zombie Han Jiai, she was suddenly shocked to find that her fingers were extremely cold, which prompted her to blurt out, "Miss, why are your hands so cold? Are you a zombie?" Han Jiai was about to explain, but Lin Chen beat her to it. "Lily, your observation skills are really keen. Yes, Han Jiai is indeed a zombie, and a powerful level 7 zombie. In addition, this is the dwarf Princess Moella, and sisters Han Yu and Han Zhu. They are all extraordinary powers." Lin Chen looked around at the crowd and continued, "Whether they are zombies or people with superpowers, I hope everyone can abandon their prejudices, truly accept them, and live in harmony with them." As soon as Lin Chen finished speaking, Chen Lili took a breath of surprise. Chapter 154. The female zombie wants to give birth to a football team for me. Husband Lin Chen, are you kidding me? Now you are not only interested in cross-species, but also zombies? You don't think she is different from us just because she is cold, right? Chen Lili asked in surprise, with confusion written on his face. This news was like a bombshell, which not only shocked Chen Lili, but also Suyun, Yan Siqi and others were stunned and could not accept it for a while, especially Su Yun, who has personally experienced the tragedy of her son turning into a zombie, and knows how terrifying and ruthless zombies are. Lin Chen's current choice is undoubtedly subversive to her. However, what they don't know is that this is just the beginning. If they learn in the future that Lin Chen's harem will also include fishmen, machines and even aliens, they will probably be surprised beyond measure. Lin Chen looked at everyone's shocked expressions, smiled, and said, "Okay, we are all a family from now on, so there is no need to be so surprised. Although Han Jie is a level 7 zombie, she has been tamed by me, so you don't have to worry about her. I will get along well with everyone." After saying that, he turned to look at Li Wei in the crowd. "Li Wei, have you talked to everyone about what I told you before I left?" Li Wei quickly responded, "Master Lin Chen, I have said it all. Didn't you say that you want to build a powerful harem group? I tell everyone, those who have superpowers must continue to improve their superpowers. Those who don't have superpowers, you will think about it later." Method. Lin Chen nodded and continued, "Very good. Then, sisters Han Jie, Moira, Han Yu and Han Zhu, please introduce yourselves." The 4 women stood up and introduced themselves one after another. Han Jie said shyly, "Hello everyone, my name is Han Jie, and I am a level 7 zombie. I am very happy to join Lin Chen's family. I hope you can give me some advice." Han Yu and Han Zhu also introduced themselves respectively. They are both level 6 superpowers. When it was Moira's turn, she stood up confidently, "Hello everyone, I am Moira, the dwarf princess. Nice to meet you all." Although her introduction was brief, her innate noble temperament but it's unforgettable. After the introduction, everyone's views on these 4 women had new changes, especially Moira. Everyone was shocked when she revealed that she had reached level 8 or even close to level 9. Such strength is unmatched by anyone present. Even Chen Lili had to admit that Moira was powerful. After all, her ancestor of the Chen family was only a level 9 superpower for a time. Everyone had a strong interest in Moira. Especially when everyone started to get started, they all wanted to feel the difference between the dwarves and humans. Otherwise, why would Lin Chen bring her back? There must be some ulterior reason. Wow. If you touch it, her skin is really super smooth. It's even more delicate than ours. Do you think Lin Chen is attracted to this kind of elastic skin? Yan Siqi smiled mischievously, letting everyone feel Moira's skin as she spoke. Song Yuxin then added, "Although there are many people with good skin, people like Princess Moira who are both strong and have such good skin are unique in our villa. To be honest, I envy her very much. It is estimated that in Master Lin Chen's room, apart from Princess Moira, Han Jie is the most favored." Haha, I never thought of this before. Song Yuxin, you are such a smart man. But I am very curious, if Lin Chen and the dwarf princess have a child, what will the child look like? Is it like a dwarf child? Handsome guy, or a handsome little brother like Lin Chen's husband? Yan Siqi discussed enthusiastically. If you say that, what will Han Jie and Lin Chen's child be like? Is it a zombie prince, or a half-zombie, half-human little monster? Another quipped. The more everyone chatted, the more excited they became, but Lin Chen began to worry that such a topic would attract a warning from the god of creation, so he quickly interrupted them. Okay, let's stop these strange topics today. Let's have a casual meal first, and then go back to our rooms to rest. Yuner, please help Han Yu, Han Zhu and Moe arrange the room. Han Jie, come with me. I want to hear about you zombies tonight. I will take care of you. Lin Chen's words made all the girls cast envious glances, especially the women brought back from the Chen family, such as Vivian, who couldn't wait to be favored by Lin Chen. But now that Lin Chen has made a decision, everyone can only obey. But as soon as there were more women, the topic started to explode again. They all started chatting about the story of Lin Chen and the female zombie Han Jie. Later that night, it's just that Lin Chen may be the first man to communicate with zombies. Of course, he may also be the only one in the future after all, who would communicate directly across species for the first time. As the topic ended, Han Jie also came to Lin Chen's door after taking a shower. Dong dong dong. Enter. Han Jie slowly opened the door, and it was Lin Chen who caught her eye. However, Lin Chen after taking a shower was a little different from just now. Now he exposed his muscles, giving people a sense of security at a glance. Sir Lin Chen, what specific zombie knowledge do you want to know? As long as you want to know, then I will definitely tell you. Oh, really? Lin Chen smiled and continued, why are you so far away from me? Come here, I won't eat you. Didn't you say that? The flesh of zombies sizzles, squirts, unappetizing. Okay, I'll come over. Promising Lin Chen, Han Jie slowly came over and slowly sat on the bed, but Han Jie was already panicking inside. She is a zombie. She knows it in her heart. Because of this, she was a little afraid that Lin Chen would dislike her, or maybe because you feel that you can't satisfy her, you will end up being unhappy when the time comes. Therefore, she flattered, "Master Lin Chen, me." Lin Chen grabbed Han Jie's hand and said, "Jie, give me a few babies, the more, the better." As soon as these words came out, Han Jie suddenly showed a hint of shame on her face. When she heard Lin Chen's magnetic voice, she was originally ready to refuse. She is a zombie. How can she give birth to a baby? But she still agreed, and she suddenly felt like she fell in love with Lin Chen. Then she said him softly, "Thank you, Jie. Give birth to 11 football teams, or 10 basketball teams." Seeing Han Jie agreed, Lin Chen said softly. Then Lin Chen's next words directly scared Han Jie. 10 football team, 11 basketball team. I'm afraid I'll keep giving birth. Seeing Han Jie's playful expression, Lin Chen gave her a pinch. "Okay, let's have a good chat first, don't you think?" Lin Chen burst out laughing. Chapter 155. Putting aside the facts. After a long day of waiting, the next day finally arrived in the dawn light. Lin Chen's laughter finally stopped. He stood by the window, looking deeply into the distance, and the smile on his face had not completely faded over this period of time. He has been studying zombies more and more deeply, and found that these creatures that were once humans are indeed significantly different from humans after their transformation. Lin Chen recalled what Han Jie told him about the amazing characteristics of zombies. It is said that even if the hands and feet of zombies are cut off, as long as their brains are not destroyed in time, their bodies can miraculously repair themselves. This extraordinary ability to recover is simply incredible. If Han Jie hadn't told him this shocking news in person, he might have been more careful with these zombies. But now that he knew that they had such powerful self-healing abilities and no sense of pain, Lin Chen no longer had any scruples. Therefore, during a whole night of in-depth communication, he conducted a comprehensive understanding and research on zombies from multiple perspectives such as blood, hands and feet. The process was obviously quite torturous for Han Jie. In the middle of the night, Han Jie once expressed her feelings with pain and helplessness. "If I could go back in time, I would never step into this room. This place is simply not a place for humans to stay." "Oh, wait, it seems that I am no longer a human being, I am a zombie." Her words revealed deep exhaustion and helplessness, as if she had experienced countless tortures during this long night. But even zombies shouldn't be treated like this, she lamented. Zombies should also have zombie rights. "Why are zombie legs so beautiful?" Lin Chen, who had already stood up, looked back at Han Jie's thigh. This was partly due to his lack of squinting, mainly because the stockings Han Jie wore last night happened to be above her knees, covering half of her thighs. That location is just right, just white, just slippery, just like Su Yun. "Why are you still thinking about this when Su Yun is already pregnant?" But I don't blame Lin Chen for thinking too much, mainly because Lin Chen did massage Su Yun's ankles at that time. He was very innocent and just wanted to observe Su Yun's feet. "Of course, I also wanted to help Su Yun. You must know that people of Su Yun's age like to wear high heels, so they will definitely have ankle pain for a long time. Therefore, as a good student, it is normal for Lin Chen to occasionally help the landlord." When he thought of this, Lin Chen stretched himself and walked outside the house. "Since I want Su Yun, why not go directly?" As soon as the results came out, Lin Chen raised his head and saw a group of women in front of him. They focused their eyes on him, smiling but not showing their teeth. However, the expectation and curiosity revealed in that smile made him feel a little too abnormal. "Why are you gathered here?" Lin Chen asked puzzledly. Even though it was already broad daylight, these people wouldn't all be standing guard outside his door, right? At this time, Chen Lili, who has a straightforward personality, walked out first. She looked Lin Chen up and down, as if she wanted to analyze him with her eyes. "Actually, there is no special reason. We just want to see if you will become a zombie. If it really changes, will your function be affected? After all, we still have to consider life after giving birth." As soon as she finished speaking, Lin Chen couldn't help but flick her on the forehead, causing Chen Lili to cry out in pain and call him angrily, "Ouch! It hurts." "Lin Chen, husband, please be gentle." Lin Chen responded with a look of helplessness. "You are almost a mother, but you are still talking so openly. Let me tell you, even if I really become a zombie, you don't have to worry. When the time comes, you all become female zombies, and we form a zombie group together, all of which are children. What do you think of this idea?" "Lili, you're going to be a father, but you're still not serious." Su Yun joked from the side. Lin Chen waved his hand, interrupting everyone's laughter. "Okay, if you have any questions, I'll ask them later during dinner." I'm going to the living room now. Seeing this, everyone had to temporarily put aside their curiosity anyway. The days are long and they have enough time to understand if they can't ask Lin Chen about their zombie experiences directly. They can also interview other female zombies, but to be honest, they all felt itchy and uncomfortable. They had to figure out this problem no matter what, so a group of women followed Lin Chen toward the living room, chattering, preparing to continue their interview at the dinner table. At the same time, outside a secret base in Luo City, a group of warriors with supernatural powers had quietly assembled. King Shu Ken looked at the heavily guarded base not far away, with a look of confusion on his face. He turned to Zhongli and said, "Zhongli, isn't our plan to coordinate with the Bald Eagle Empire?" Zhongli looked forward firmly, her voice revealing an unquestionable determination. "Your Excellency only raised the possibility of cooperation, but did not emphasize the need to join forces. We have the ability to find Lin Chen independently once he is captured. The assistance of the Bald Eagle Empire will become dispensable. What's more, we still have the seniors of the fish people are helping us out, so why should you be afraid? Our next move is to rush directly into this base and kill without leaving any survivors. I firmly believe that is the person in charge here. Lin Chen will never sit idly by and ignore it. He will definitely show up." Zhongli's tone was cold and cruel. However, as soon as she finished speaking, Zhi Feng snorted disdainfully. "Huh? I thought you had some clever plan, but I didn't expect it to be such a simple and crude order." Anli, Shimizu Ken and Ida were all stunned for a moment, obviously not expecting Zifen to openly express their dissatisfaction. Ida even retorted angrily, "Zifen, what's your attitude? Anri is the captain appointed by Xianachi Empire's Akatsuki organization. You must obey our orders." Zifen smiled indifferently and said sarcastically, "Obey? I'm really sorry, I don't have this habit. I am not a licking dog as you call me. I will not be like some people, who not only grovel, but also I hope everyone around me will follow suit." Ken Shimizu hurriedly intervened. "We are all members of the Akatsuki organization, and we should focus on completing our tasks. Personal grudges and differences of opinion should be put aside for the time being." Zifen blinked disapprovingly. "Go back and report the problem? I don't dare. All of you are Zhongli's supporters. How can I have the courage to raise objections? I'm really scared." Zhongli's face finally turned ugly. She stared at Zifen coldly, with strong anger in her voice. "Zifen, that's enough. How many times have I told you that I did not steal your ex-boyfriend? Go away. Why do you always target me? Even if I took it away, you don't have to make things difficult for me like this, right?" Putting aside the facts, your ex-boyfriend insists on being my dog. What can I do, am I right? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156. Don't look down on the security guard. Zing. Pair. Zhi Feng's roar was like a ignited powder keg, erupting instantly. "I. With. You. It's not over." Her voice was filled with uncontrollable anger, and she was obviously irritated by Zhongli's words about her ex-boyfriend. She clenched her fists, and waves of supernatural power surged around her body, as if she was ready to rush towards Zhongli at any time. However, at this tense moment, a calm and majestic voice suddenly intervened. "Okay, everyone is so out of control, I can't stand it anymore. Isn't he just a man? What's there to argue about? Period. If you see the men from our fish tribe, I'm afraid none of them will be able to move." This was the voice of the senior fishman tribe, and his appearance seemed to pour cold water on the conflict that was about to break out. Zifen and Zhongli both stopped what they were doing and turned to look at the source of the sound. "I don't want to see you quarreling over issues like this again." The Fishman clan senior continued, "If you continue to do this, I can consider solving Lin Chen myself without you." Zhongli took a deep breath, calmed down her anger, and said to the Fishman senior, "I'm really sorry, senior, for making you laugh." After saying that, she turned to the others and said, "Let's go." Following her order, everyone except Zhi Feng, who was still angry, turned into black shadows and quickly flew towards the base. What they were heading to was the Wu family base that Lin Chen had initially recovered from the outside. The base looks elegant and luxurious, with towering walls, but for experts like Zhongli and the others, these are not problems. They sneaked in easily. After all, everyone's strength is one of the best in the entire Blue Star. At this moment, inside the base, Wu Jin is presiding over a meeting and arranging the latest important tasks. Suddenly, She stopped talking because she and everyone else in the meeting felt someone behind them. They turned around and were surprised to find a stranger standing behind each of them. The appearance of these people is like ghosts. Silently, Wu Jin and the rest of the Wu family had indescribable looks in their eyes if nothing else happens. The person who appears will not only have superpowers and it's very strong. Do you know Lin Chen? You only need to answer yes or no. If you say more, you will die. The person who spoke was Ida. When the strong man next to Wu Jin heard such an accent, his pupils dilated and he shouted angrily, "Are you from the Little Sun Empire? Damn it, who do you think you are and are invading our dragon kingdom? Bah! You want to know who Lin Chen is? Then if you insist on knowing, then I'm sorry. I'm from the Dragon Kingdom and can't be a traitor. Just kill him." The strong man knew that he was no match for the people of the Little Japan Empire in front of him, but the blood awakening from his heart made him know that even if he was not strong enough, he must not give up when facing the people of the Little Japan Empire. As soon as this strong man opened his mouth, the people around him shouted, "People from the Xiaori Empire, why do you think I would betray a Dragon Nation person like Lin Chen? We are ironclad Dragon Nation people and we will not do anything to betray our country." "Well said, second uncle. For these people from the Little Japanese Empire, if you do one, you will get your money back. If you do two, you will make a lot of money. As long as they dare to take action, I dare say that I will definitely take one of them away. You are already on your way. If it hadn't been for the outbreak of the apocalypse, how would your Little Sun Empire have had the opportunity to invade our Dragon Kingdom? You'd better leave quickly. If superpowers like us Lin Chen find out, you will have no choice but to wait to die." Hearing this, Ida impulsively wanted to step forward and take action. However, just when he was about to deal with all these people, Anli calmly spoke, "Ida-san, please be patient. I have observed that these people seem to know something about Lin Chen." Anri's words made Ida stop his movements, but this brief calm did not last long. Boom! Suddenly the strong man with the loudest voice just now fell in a pool of blood, apparently suffering a sudden attack. Anger and grief were intertwined, and the faces of Wu Jin and other Wu family members instantly became extremely ugly. "You people from the Little Japanese Empire, go to hell!" someone roared, full of endless hatred. "Second uncle," Wu Jin shouted sadly, her eyes flashing with tears, anger and helplessness intertwined. At this moment, King Shujian on the side was looking at Wu Jin with cold eyes. He had a strong interest in her from the beginning. He walked up to Wu Jin, with a cruel smile on his lips. "This girl looks pretty good. Can you let me enjoy her for a while and then kill her slowly?" Wu Jin's eyes widened and she stared angrily at King Shujian. Her body was shaking, but she tried to stay calm. She took a deep breath and said loudly, "Don't you want to know the whereabouts of Lin Chen? I can tell you, but the premise is that you must let these people go." Ida smiled contemptuously. "Oh? Why should I believe you?" Wu Jin straightened her back and her eyes were firm. "Just because I am Lin Chen's woman." Her words stunned everyone present, including Zingli, Zifeng and others. They didn't expect that this seemingly weak woman turned out to be Lin Chen's woman. "No, she is not Lin Chen's woman. She has nothing to do with Lin Chen. Madam, you are confused. These are people from the Japanese Empire. Why are you telling them this? Kill us all if you dare. We don't want to live anyway." Wu Jin's admission worried the Wu family present, and they shouted one after another. However, Wu Jin showed unusual calmness when faced with tense situations. She said softly, "It's okay, everyone." There was a soothing power in her voice. Then, she turned to look at the man in security uniform next to her and said in a calm tone, "Come here and give them my man's contact information." Only then did everyone realize that the security guard had been standing quietly in the conference room. "Wait a minute, King Shuken, there seems to be a problem," Anli said. King Shujian was full of eagerness at this moment. He couldn't wait to find Lin Chen, eliminate this potential threat, and then dominate Wu Jin. Therefore he walked towards the security guard without hesitation, completely ignoring Zingli's warning. "What's wrong? Isn't it just a security guard? Is it possible that he can kill me?" Shimizu Ken disagreed as he spoke. He walked up to the security guard and showed an impatient tone. "Boy, why didn't you get the phone earlier? If you give it to me now, it's too late." Immediately, he suddenly took action, hugged the security guard and felt sad, and quickly found a phone from the security guard. Seeing that the security guard had been knocked to the ground, King Shuken turned around and walked over while talking with a nonchalant expression. He suddenly shuddered. Chapter 157. The strength of the Akatsuki organization cannot be underestimated. Shimizu Ken, behind Anri, shouted nervously under the gaze of everyone. The security guard, who was originally lying on the ground, seemed to be instantly injected with vitality. Suddenly he jumped up from the ground, aiming directly at King Shuken. Zingli's reminder echoed in the air. With a hint of urgency, King Shuken felt a cold wind behind him, and he turned around suddenly, wanting to fight back, but his movements were still a little slow, and the security guard had already rushed to him quickly. The huge force lifted King Qingshu high into the air, and then he fell hard to the ground. Qingshu Jian felt as if his internal organs had been shaken out of place, and he cried out in pain. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Shimizu Ken struggled to get up, but found that he had lost the strength to resist her and save people. Seeing this, Zhengli took the lead and rushed forward without hesitation. She kicked the security guard, but it felt like she had hit a steel plate. The shock made her feet feel numb, but she did not back down. As the captain, she quickly adjusted her strategy and activated her own powers. Raw spin pill, Zhengli shouted, and a huge spiral pill formed in her hand, flying towards the security guard with the sound of howling wind. Taking advantage of the gap when the security guard was fighting against the Rasengan with all his strength, Anri flew up and quickly rescued Ken Shimizu from the security guard and handed him over to Ida, who rushed up after him. Look, can he still be saved? This zombie's strength is at least level 6, which is very powerful. If Ken Shimizu hadn't been careless, he wouldn't have been defeated so miserably, Anli said eagerly. When Ida saw this scene, he immediately called Zhifeng to start treatment. Zhifeng is the only healer in this team. She is also a famous wet nurse in the Xiaoni Empire. It is said that there are not even 10,000 but 1,000 people who have nursed from her hands. It is enough to see how powerful the treatment level of Zhifeng is. If it weren't for the sake of his comrades, I really wouldn't want to save him. Zhifeng said, stop talking and hurry up. If you die in a while, you have to be responsible. You don't want your title of the strongest wet nurse in the Japanese Empire to be taken away by others. Ida said. On the side note, Zhifeng complained, but still immediately walked to Qingshu Fitness and started to use her healing powers. Her cheeks were raised slightly, her mouth opened slightly, and her eyes were shining with supernatural light. Seeing Ida Baguo looking like this, he came over and touched his beating heart, trying to prevent himself from changing his mind. The result is heard. Shouted treatment begins in a quiet villa area. Lin Chen was in an indescribable mood of boredom. He was sitting alone on the spacious terrace, his eyes revealing expectations and confusion about the future. Just as he was contemplating his next plan in his mind, an inexplicable feeling of uneasiness suddenly came over him. This sudden premonition made Lin Chen instantly alert. He activated his powerful abilities without hesitation. This force spread quickly like tentacles and began to search every corner of Luo City in detail. At this moment, he was surprised to find that the zombies he carefully arranged in the Wu family were eliminated silently. This discovery made Lin Chen frown, and there was an inexplicable excitement and curiosity in his heart. It seems that what is supposed to come has finally come, he murmured to himself. A sly light flashing in his eyes. I just don't know which country's beautiful girl is here this time. It would be interesting if it were really a beautiful girl from a different race. Various possible scenes have emerged in Lin Chen's mind, and he can't help but start to look forward to the upcoming encounter. However, he also knew that now was not the time to indulge in fantasy. He quickly stood up, straightened his clothes, and prepared to face this unexpected challenge. Just leave. Lin Chen didn't hesitate at all. He immediately set off for the Wu family base. Boom! A loud bang echoed in the empty corridor. Under Zhengli's rapid attack, the security guard was unable to defeat the four-handed man with just 2 fists. With one mistake, Zhengli knocked him down with a direct headshot. Ida looked at the security guard lying on the ground and couldn't help but frown and asked, Captain, isn't this zombie controlled by Lin Chen? However, Zhengli ignored him. Her attention had completely turned to other aspects. Where are the others in the conference room? Zhengli looked around, with a hint of urgency in her tone. Ida was stunned when he heard this. He had just been paying attention to Anli's battle with the zombies and didn't even notice the other people in the conference room. Wait, where are the people? Ida exclaimed, finally realizing the seriousness of the problem. Anri looked at Ida and said angrily, Ida, what on earth are you doing? We have to chase you quickly. After saying that, she sighed, turned around and rushed out quickly. At this time, Wu Jin and other members of the Wu family had already taken the opportunity to escape from the conference room and were running towards the outside of the base. Wu Jin knew in her heart that as long as she could delay a little time, Lin Chen would definitely rush to save her. Therefore, she and the rest of the Wu family are now running desperately, trying to escape from this dangerous place. However, Zhengli and others are not ordinary people. They come from the most mysterious ninja village in the Xiaoni Empire. They are members of the Akatsuki organization and possess extraordinary strength and keen insight. How could they let Wu Jin and others escape so easily? Sure enough, before Wu Jin could run out, Zhengli and others were already chasing her like cheetahs. They quickly shuttled through the intricate base, catching the traces of Wu Jin and others. Wu Jin and others panicked and eventually ran into a dead-end island against the wall, panting and looking at Zhengli and others approaching, their hearts filled with despair. Why are you running? Why don't you keep running? I just want to see where you can run. Shimizu Ken mocked in broken Chinese. I was sneak attacked by that damn security guard just now. If that's the case, then you must be prepared to bear my revenge 100 times 1,000 times. I won't show mercy this time. I'm going to kill first and then kill you, Qing Shui said in broken Chinese. I have to say that the treatment level of Zifeng is really top notch, although I have to say when I use my powers, which is a bit weird, but as long as anyone bites Zifeng when he is injured or even on the verge of death, he can be resurrected with full health. Otherwise, how could Qing Shui still have so much energy for oral pleasure now? Listen to the people of the little Japanese empire. You are still planning to kill first and then? Wu Jin sneered, her eyes shining with determination. This is really the funniest joke I've heard in a while. Do you think you can manipulate us as you wish? Huh? When my husband Lin Chen comes, I want to see if you are killed first, then, still me. I saw Wu Jin raising her head and looking at the sky constantly. Chapter 158. Madam, I came late and scared you. King Shijian saw that Wu Jin had been looking up. He originally thought she was looking at the reinforcements, but with clear skies, how could there be reinforcements, unless Lin Chen can fly? Impossible. How could Lin Chen reach that level at such a young age? You must know that only when you reach the level of King Wu can you walk in the air, and if you want to reach that level, it will take at least hundreds of years. Even their ninja village is like this. He didn't believe that Lin Chen became King Wu so quickly. As a result, he said wildly, "What are you looking at? Even Lin Chen can't arrive here in such a short time." There was a contemptuous smile on the corner of King Shu Ken's mouth, and his words were full of confidence. Before he finished speaking, he suddenly moved and rushed towards Wu Jin quickly. A trace of panic flashed in Wu Jin's eyes. She knew that she could no longer escape. Her face instantly turned as pale as paper, and she looked helplessly at the approaching Shimizu Ken beauty. "What's good about Lin Chen?" King Shijian said with a ferocious smile. "It's better to follow me." However, just as he was about to say the last word of his sentence, he suddenly felt a strong sense of crisis. This sense of crisis was like a cold snake, quietly crawling into his heart. King Shu Ken was startled and just wanted to react, but it was already too late. A palm flashing with thunder and lightning quickly enlarged in front of his eyes. Then in his disbelieving eyes, it stabbed into his heart. He felt that his life force was passing away rapidly, but that palm seemed to have endless power. With a gentle squeeze, his heart was thrown to the ground like discarded trash. At the moment when his life was about to end, Shimizu Ken's vision gradually blurred, but he still managed to see clearly the young man in black who took his life. There was no trace of ripples on his handsome face. As if he had just done a trivial thing, the boy in black glanced at the lifeless Qing Shuijian, then turned around and gently hugged Wu Jin, who had just been frightened to death. A rare soft smile appeared on his face, and he comforted softly, "Madam, I was late and you were frightened." His voice was gentle and firm, as if there was a magical power that slowly dissipated the fear in Wu Jin's heart. She knew that as long as this person was around, she no longer had to fear anything. "Husband Lin Chen?" Wu Jin looked at the young man in black who suddenly appeared and was stunned. There was a flash of doubt in her eyes, but then she was overwhelmed by the surge of excitement. The people around him were also stunned. They looked at this young man who suddenly appeared, and their hearts were full of surprise and curiosity. "Lord Lin Chen?" Someone recognized him and exclaimed. This title seemed to turn on some kind of switch, and the surrounding crowd began to stir, and the excitement was palpable. They knew that this young man was the legendary Lin Chen, a powerful and admirable being. Wu Jin slowly came to her senses after being hugged by Lin Chen. She looked up at Lin Chen's face, with tears in her eyes. Who else could this be if she wasn't her husband? She hugged Lin Chen tightly, as if she wanted to put all her thoughts and worries into this hug. There were screams and cheers all around, but Lin Chen just smiled faintly, as if while this was what he expected. He gently let go of Wu Jin, then turned around and summoned several zombies under his command. These zombies quickly took Wu Jin and others aside to protect them. Lin Chen knew that with his woman by his side, he would never be able to devote himself wholeheartedly to the next battle. Shimizu Ken's sudden death shocked Anri and others. The corners of their mouths twitched unconsciously, looking at Ken. Shimizu, who fell to the ground in disbelief. "You know, King Shu Ken is a level 7 superpower, and his strength should not be underestimated. However, he was killed so easily by one move, which made them deeply fearful of Lin Chen's strength. Lin Chen's speed was so fast that they didn't even notice when he appeared or when he took action. All this shows that Lin Chen's strength is far beyond their imagination. Even a little outrageous. They originally thought that he was at most a level 7 or 8 psychic, but now it seems that his speed and strength are far beyond the scope of this level. They began to doubt whether they could defeat such a superpower at this time. Lin Chen's eyes gradually focused on Xingli and others. From Xingli's point of view, She felt that Lin Chen was very angry and was ready to kill them at any time, but it seemed different to Lin Chen. He first looked up and down at Zingli and Xifen beside her. It was okay not to look at them, but he was stunned when he looked at them, especially after using the system to identify it. Name: Zingli. Race: human. Gender: female. Age: 28. Quality: Kingo. Occupation: special Jonin of the Ninja Murakatsu organization. Appearance: 96. Body: 96. Power: A level. Wind attribute: power level. Level 8. Psychic. Overall rating: 96. Name: Xifen. Race: human. Gender: female. Age: 28. Quality: Kingo. Occupation: special Jonin of the Ninja Murakatsu organization. Appearance: 94. Body: 98. Power: S level. Healing power level. Level 8. Psychic. Overall rating: 96. A level. Wind attribute ability: S level. Healing power: Level 8. Psychic. When Lin Chen's eyes fell on the introduction, his heartstrings were gently plucked. It seems that the Japanese Empire has indeed sent a heavy gift this time. However, what moved his heart even more was the two beautiful girls. They gave him an unprecedented sense of freshness, like two bright pearls shining brightly in the deep sea. If they were compared with the most dazzling stars on Blue Star, those so-called stars would instantly pale in Lin Chen's eyes. These two beautiful girls are unique in terms of temperament, appearance and talent. For a moment, Lin Chen felt a strong desire in his heart, and he wanted to capture these two beautiful girls. Are you Lin Chen? Zingli's voice broke Lin Chen's thoughts. Although she felt the threat from Lin Chen, but thinking about the powerful fishmen behind her, she still bravely raised her chest and tried to look Lin Chen in the eye. However, Lin Chen ignored Zingli's provocation. A single smile appeared at the corner of his mouth, and he said lightly, "I am not Lin Chen, I am your future husband. Dear beautiful girls of the Japanese Empire, as long as you agree to become my woman, those stupid things you just did I can let go of all bad things." Anli was stunned. It's not that she hasn't experienced confession before, but this is the first time she has encountered such a direct and simple way of confession. Her little face turned slightly red, and she looked at Lin Chen at a loss, not knowing how to respond. Just then, a voice suddenly came with such a good thing. "How could it be without me?" Lin Chen looked around and saw a mermaid flying into the sky. Her voice was as sweet as the sound of nature. "Master Lin Chen, what do you think of me?" Chapter 159. The dog licker will be late but will not be absent. "Lord Lin Chen, what's your impression of me?" The mermaid flashed her big eyes as deep as the seawater, staring at Lin Chen expectantly, as if waiting for his judgment in this already somewhat stalemate and awkward atmosphere. Her appearance was like a fresh sea breeze, injecting a lively and charming new atmosphere into the occasion. Her unique beauty and elegance have undoubtedly become the center of attention. Lin Chen stared at the charming mermaid in front of him, and couldn't help but feel ripples in his heart. Mermaid. Lin Chen secretly sighed. It turned out that those childhood fairy tales were not fiction, but a real fantasy world. Mermaids, such mysterious and charming creatures, are obviously not controllable by ordinary people. It seems that only an outstanding person like Lin Chen can truly possess and control her breathtaking beauty and power. At this moment, the mermaid soared lightly over the pool. Like another worldly fairy, she walked in the air, and the colorful fish tail, even if there was no water flow, seemed to dance gently with the fluctuation of the water flow, like a flowing picture scroll. Lin Chen looked at this beautiful picture and felt a strong impulse in his heart. He wanted to reach out and touch the elegant fish tail gently, feeling the silky smooth texture. "Well, very good, then you can stay and be my woman." Lin Chen sighed softly, with a bit of appreciation and expectation in his eyes. After hearing this, the mermaid Ivy had a disdainful smile on her face, and she responded challengingly, "Oh? That depends on whether you have the qualifications." As soon as she finished speaking, her figure instantly disappeared from the spot and rushed straight towards Lin Chen at an almost uncaptured speed. In Lin Chen's field of vision, the silhouette of the mermaid Ivy was so fast that only after images were left. However, for several people from the Xiaori Empire next to them, they only saw the mermaid Ivy suddenly appearing next to Lin Chen, and the two collided. Boom! A deafening bang echoed in the air. After just a few rounds of confrontation, an incredible scene happened. The powerful mermaid Ivy was quickly subdued by Lin Chen and pushed to the ground. This scene made several people in the Xiaori Empire show expressions of astonishment. They could not believe what was happening in front of them. Mermaid Ivy seemed to be killed instantly. No, it was just killed instantly. When Zingli saw this scene, alarm bells rang in her heart. She immediately realized that the situation was not good and turned around to escape. As an experienced member of the Akatsuki organization, she knows very well that when facing an opponent whose strength far exceeds hers, running away is often the best choice. However, Lin Chen seemed to have already understood Zingli's intention while suppressing the mermaid Ivy with his clone. He quickly chased after Zingli, and others had just escaped a few steps when they felt a huge sense of oppression coming from behind. They couldn't help but look back, only to see a giant ice dragon several meters long and breathing cold air approaching quickly. Ida looked at the approaching ice dragon in shock and couldn't help but exclaim, how is this possible? Even if Lin Chen is #1 in the killing tower, he shouldn't have such terrifying strength. Didn't you see that the mermaid seniors were instantly killed by him? Someone nearby responded in horror at this moment. They were completely shocked by the strength displayed by Lin Chen, and their hearts were filled with fear and uneasiness. Ho ho ho! When the giant dragon roared deafeningly, the surrounding temperature dropped sharply, and those who had not reacted in time were instantly frozen into popsicles. Lin Chen walked calmly through the frozen crowd. He walked up to the frozen people and carefully exposed their faces to prevent them from suffocating due to the ice. Zingli's eyes widened, looking at Lin Chen's calm appearance. She couldn't help but feel a trace of fear in her heart. She couldn't help but ask, you, what kind of strength do you have? Why are you so powerful? With such ability, I am afraid that only the head of our ninja village can compare with you. In her impression, even her father, the head of the ninja village, would be out of breath after using such a powerful power. But the person in front of him didn't seem to be affected in any way. Is he a human being or a god? However, just when Anli was filled with doubts, Ida suddenly interrupted her thoughts. He watched Lin Chen lightly touch Zingli's face and immediately roared, damn it, what are you doing? How dare you touch our Captain Zingli's face? I haven't even FG touched it yet. Ida continued to threaten with anger on his face. Do you know who Enri's father is? He is the head of the ninja village of our Xiaoni Empire, a martial arts master. With your little strength, I advise you to still think clearly. If you dare to tarnish our captain, then you will face the revenge of thousands of ninjas in the ninja village. Ida's roar echoed in the air, but Lin Chen didn't seem to be intimidated at this moment. Zifen came over and said in a provocative tone, handsome guy, what's wrong? Is it because my breasts are not as big as Zingli's? Or am I not sexy enough? Why don't you come to me? You are so awesome, let me down. Lin Chen was originally focusing on Zingli's face as delicate as a porcelain doll, wanting to confirm whether it was really like the legendary Q-bomb. But after hearing Zifen's words, he turned around and said in a low voice, I have never killed people from the Little Japan Empire, but this is the first time I have seen a beautiful girl from the Little Japan Empire who is as proactive as you. Wait a minute, I'll come to you right away, beast. How dare you be so rude? Come at me if you have the guts, and don't touch Zingli. If you want to find a woman, why don't you go to Zifen? That woman, despite her dignified appearance, is actually very hot. 36D. The bust is not covered. Ida roared angrily, his words revealing his strong dissatisfaction with Lin Chen. Ida was stunned. He didn't expect that he had already raised the prestige of the ninja village, but Lin Chen still had no fear that was a top master at the king of martial arts level, a legend in their village. Ida once took a look at King Wu from a distance. At that moment, he felt deeply that the gap between him and him seemed to be an insurmountable gap. However, now seeing his sweetheart being touched frivolously by Lin Chen, Ida felt an indescribable anger burning in his heart. He couldn't help but roar loudly, and even did not hesitate to reveal Zhi Feng's secret in an attempt to divert Lin Chen's attention. Ida, by doing this, do you have a crush on me? Zifen suddenly interrupted. With a hint of joking in his tone, Lin Chen ignored the dispute between the two people. He had already seen that this well-field was probably Zingli's licking dog, so he explored the secrets of the Xiaori Empire even more unscrupulously. He calmly lifted the ice on Zingli's lower body and gently took off her shoes, revealing her beautiful legs as white and flawless as jade. Miss Zingli, your legs are breathtakingly beautiful, purer than the bright moonlight. Lin Chen admired sincerely. When Zingli heard this, a shy blush appeared on her face, which was originally frozen and unable to move for so many years. She has been keeping herself private, thinking that she can give herself to her future man in the future. However, now, this future man seems out of reach, and she is being treated so lightly by a strange man. When Ida saw this scene, the jealousy and anger in his heart were like burning flames. He had fantasized about having close contact with Zingli countless times, but now this hateful Lin Chen got there first. He felt as if his heart was being torn apart and he was in so much pain that he couldn't breathe. Sir, I beg you, please let Captain Anli go. Don't touch her again, I beg you. Ida begged with a cry in his voice. As long as you are willing to let go, I will tell you everything you want to know. If there is anyone else present besides us, I will tell you everything. When Lin Chen heard this, a proud smile appeared on his lips. Then tell me, apart from you, is there anyone else who comes to me? Lin Chen said straightforwardly. Chapter 160. Mecha warriors are so terrifying. Ida, how dare you? Anli's voice was as sharp as the cold wind. She stared at Ida closely, her eyes shining with determination. And determination. If you dare to reveal that secret, I, as the special jounin of the ninja village, will have to declare you a traitorous ninja. At that time, not to mention my father, the head of the ninja village, and even the prime minister of the empire, I can't protect you. Ida's face was pale, and his eyes were full of struggle and fear. No, Captain Anli, please don't force me. His voice trembled, as if he was under great pressure. I must say it, Ida suddenly roared, a look of determination and firmness on his face. Even if I am considered a traitor, I will accept it. At least, I can say it out loud that I died for my beloved goddess. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, Lin Chen wouldn't have been able to imagine it in the future. If someone says that licking a dog is not acceptable to the goddess, Lin Chen will definitely tell him once upon a time, there was a boiling Yangyang named Jingshan from the Xiaoni Empire. He can sing and cry for his goddess. He would rather betray the country than save his goddess. Lin Chen is willing to praise this ultimate dog licker. Okay, tell me. Lin Chen took a deep breath and assured Ida, I promise, I will never touch your goddess again. Ida stared at Lin Chen closely, as if he wanted to read the sincerity in his eyes. Okay. People from the dragon country usually keep their word. I hope you do the same when we come to Luo City this time. Our main target is you. Lin Chen. Ida began to explain their purpose. But besides us, there is also the mermaid, the one you just conquered. In addition, there is another empire involved, and that is the Bald Eagle Empire. The Bald Eagle Empire. Lin Chen's brows furrowed. How many people did they send? Ida shook his head. I don't know. We originally planned to join forces with other forces to deal with you, but Captain Henry was overconfident and thought we could deal with you alone, so we acted on our own. But I heard that the Bald Eagle Empire also sent them this time top agent, an action team headed by 007. Just as Ida was preparing to further explain 007's identity and intentions, suddenly, a bullet shot towards Ida at an alarming speed. Lin Chen reacted quickly, rushed in front of Ida, and slapped the bullet to the ground with a wave of his hand. The bullet hit the ground, making a loud noise and causing a heat wave. Lin Chen looked at the direction where the bullets were flying and said coldly, the person who just made the sneak attack, come out. What kind of skill is it to attack people sneakily? You have the courage to come out. I want to see who it is. I just don't get used to seeing people bullying others. The words just fell. A sound of mechanical operation echoed in the air. Lin Chen looked up and saw not far away, several supernatural beings wearing mechas suddenly appeared like ghosts. These superpowers were unusual. They had blonde hair and blue eyes. They were obviously from a foreign country and had a very different style from the superpowers from the Dragon Kingdom that Lin Chen usually came into contact with. Taking a closer look, there are 4 of these foreign superpowers, 2 men and 2 women, each of whom exudes a unique aura. What was particularly eye-catching were the 2 women. Their appearance is stunning, and their beauty is like exquisite dolls, forming a strange harmony with the mechas they wear. One of the beautiful blonde girls' mecha is actually pink, which makes her even more unique. Her figure is already graceful, and the close-fitting mecha outlines her figure even more vividly. Seeing this scene, Lin Chen almost doubted his own eyes. This guy from the Bald Eagle Empire really knows how to play. Lin Chen secretly sighed in his heart. Such beauty and the cold image of the mecha undoubtedly formed a sharp contrast. However, facing these 4 foreign superpowers, Lin Chen did not show the slightest fear. On the contrary, a disdainful sneer appeared on his face, as if he had already seen through the other party's true nature. Haha, using your power to bully others? You may have misunderstood. Lin Chen's tone was full of ridicule. I am not bullying the weak, but punishing those who dare to invade our dragon kingdom. Don't worry, the punishment will come to you soon. Lin Chen's sneer echoed in the empty field, especially that beautiful girl in pink mecha. You will be the first. When he heard this, 008 felt violated, and his thoughts began to activate the mecha inside the mecha. Mechanical sounds kept echoing in her mind. Confirm, Lin Chen. Confirm, Lin Chen. Do you want to start killing? Please confirm. Please confirm. 008 gave the instruction without hesitation. Confirm. Confirm. Following her confirmation, the mecha started instantly, and the entire fuselage roared. The original height of 171 centimeters suddenly increased to 222 centimeters with the support of the mecha, standing like a giant on the battlefield. However, the change in height is just the tip of the iceberg of the mecha's power weight. 007 shouted urgently. However, 008 ignored his dissuasion with extremely fast movements. She drew out the blood-red long knife beside her in an instant. He slashed towards Lin Chen at a speed that was almost impossible to capture. The blade cut through the air and let out a sharp whistle. The sound was like a cold wind passing through the canyon, which was frightening. The speed of the knife was staggering, As if a bolt of lightning flashed across the sky and disappeared in an instant. Lin Chen was in danger, but he was not afraid. Relying on his cultivation at the martial king level, he keenly sensed the approaching danger and responded with astonishing reaction speed. If it weren't for his great improvement in cultivation, Lin Chen knew that he might not be able to react in time. Let's imagine if he hadn't dodged in time, the sharp blade might have cut him in too long ago, with blood splattering on the spot. Chapter 161. Just you? You are the first man who can take my sword. You are indeed very strong. I recognize your ability. However, if you want to be my real man, you need to work harder. A somewhat naughty and cunning smile suddenly appeared on 008's pretty face, as if it was a signal of challenge. As soon as she finished speaking, her agile figure moved instantly. Immediately afterwards, a blood-red long knife was quickly drawn from her back, flashing with a sharp cold light. Bang bang bang. The two long knives were like two bloody whirlwinds, hitting the thunder gun that Lin Chen was holding tightly, making a deafening impact enhanced by scientific mechas. 008's strength has reached the terrifying king of martial arts level. Martial king is a completely different level from those with superpowers, and represents an extraordinary fighting ability without special abilities or powerful trump cards. Almost no one can compete with her because of this strength. 008 was very confident at the beginning, thinking that this would be a battle without any suspense. However, things didn't seem to be going the way she expected. Is this all you have? Lin Chen looked at 008's attack. Although it looked fierce on the outside, when it hit his thunder gun, it was as weak as hitting cotton, and he couldn't help but laugh. Without further ado, 008 was obviously angered by Lin Chen's ridicule. She discovered that in several fierce confrontations, not only was she unable to end the battle quickly, but she began to feel a little powerless. This is a new feeling for her. Drawing out a long knife often means the end of the battle, but this time, the situation is different. Lin Chen raised his eyebrows slightly, feeling 008's anger and unwillingness, but he did not stop taunting, but launched an attack even more mercilessly. He knew that this battle had just begun, and he would never give in easily. Bang! With a loud noise, Lin Chen's counterattack began. He decided not to hold back and fight with all his strength. The thunder gun in Lin Chen's hand seemed to contain endless power, and the ferocious power fluctuations were like a violent beast, roaring in his grasp. He aimed at the blood-red long knife in 008's hand, and swung it out with unrivaled strength. Boom! There was a loud noise, and the blood-red long knife broke under the fierce blow of Lin Chen's thunder gun. In an instant, the crisp sound of the blade breaking echoed in the air, which was frightening. 008's pupils shrank instantly, and before she could react, another bloody knife completely collapsed under Lin Chen's thunder gun, turning into fragments and scattering everywhere. At this moment, Lin Chen grasped 008's throat tightly with lightning speed. Everything happened in a flash. 008 was completely stunned. Her eyes were full of disbelief. Just now, she still had the advantage in the battle. However, in an instant, the situation changed drastically. Lin Chen's fatal attack made her deeply realize that this strong man was just playing with her before. 007 and others witnessed this scene, and they were all stunned, looking at Lin Chen in disbelief. He subdued an agent whose strength reached the level of King Wu in the blink of an eye. 008 wears the Bald Eagle Empire's most sophisticated scientific superpower, which gives her powerful power. However, even with such equipment bonus, she still seemed so vulnerable in front of Lin Chen. This was enough to prove that Lin Chen's strength was far beyond her imagination. He had been dealing with her before, as if he was just playing with a kitten. At this moment, 008's heart was filled with panic and helplessness. Fake, why are you still standing there? 010 shouted eagerly, his eyes staring closely at 008, who was tightly held in Lin Chen's hand. His heart seemed to be cut by a sharp knife, and he was in great pain whenever he sees 008 being threatened in the slightest. His heart hurts like a drop of blood. In fact, the reason why he chose to become a Bald Eagle agent was largely influenced by 8.008's yearning and love for the life of an agent also ignited the fire in his heart. He has always regarded 008 as a goddess and is willing to be her #1 supporter, willing to stand up for her at any time. At this moment, seeing 008 in danger, 010 could no longer remain calm. His eyes seemed to burst out with anger. He suddenly stepped on the ground and with the help of the reaction force, he shot towards Lin Chen like an arrow. If you want to go, come together, and we will rescue 008 together. As the captain of this mission, 007 knows the importance of the team and does not want to see any harm to his teammates. He gave the order without hesitation, and the three of them immediately launched the attack in tacit agreement. Their charging trajectory seemed to have been carefully rehearsed, each performing their own duties. Some held black knives with cold light in their hands, some held up long guns, and one agent held a black crossbow and was ready to go facing this sudden attack. Lin Chen was not afraid. He put down 008 in his hand, held the thunder gun tightly, and faced a fierce offensive of 007 and 010 on his own boom. A deafening bang echoed in the empty field. Lin Chen's thunder gun collided fiercely with the weapons of the two men, making bursts of harsh metal collision sounds. Under this huge impact, 007 and 010 were knocked back several steps. Boy, do you really think you can escape easily? 010 stabilized his figure and stared at Lin Chen fiercely. There was a threatening and fierce light in his eyes, as if he wanted to penetrate Lin Chen with his eyes. As soon as 010 finished speaking, 015 in the distance had already steadily raised the black crossbow in his hand. The bowstring was tightened, and the arrow was aimed at Lin Chen. As soon as the bowstring was loosened, a black crossbow arrow was wrapped with fierce momentum as he roared towards Lin Chen. A mysterious black figure suddenly appeared in 015's sight, which made 015's face suddenly turn pale at this critical moment of life and death. 015's instinctive reaction was to turn the direction of the bow and arrow in an attempt to counterattack the sudden black figure, but although his consciousness responded quickly, his body seemed to be confused by the speed of the black figure, completely unable to keep up with the opponent's rhythm accompanied by a deafening bang sound. 015 fell straight from mid-air like a hit cannonball, and fell heavily to the ground, raising a cloud of dust. This sudden change left 007 stunned. His eyes were full of confusion and fear, and he was filled with doubts. Where did this man in black come from, sir? This is the grudge between us and Lin Chen. There was obvious dissatisfaction in 007's tone, and he tried to use the name of the Bald Eagle Empire to scare this unknown intruder. If you insist on interfering, then once our Bald Eagle Empire learns of this, I'm afraid you will have no place on Blue Star. Who knows? The next moment, the man in black said, only you, 007? Chapter 162. Whose chassis is in charge? 007, this Bald Eagle ace agent, he always exudes an indescribable arrogance. He is experienced and capable. There were countless enemies that he personally defeated, not even 1,000, but at least hundreds of them. His record is brilliant, he has never lost, and the organization has full trust and expectations in him. However, this time, facing the man in black in front of him, he seemed to feel a little powerless. As soon as the man in black finished speaking, a sinister sneer appeared on the latter's face. He suddenly moved towards 015, punched directly, and immediately touched 015's chest very easily. Damn it, that's the wrong number, the man in black exclaimed. That he was Lin Chen's clone when his fist hit the target. He immediately realized his mistake. It turned out that 015 standing in front of him was not the enemy he expected, but a woman driving a mecha. Lin Chen cloned himself and observed carefully. I found that this female mecha has a graceful figure and smooth lines, which is obviously not comparable to that of ordinary mechas. Only this kind of mecha can withstand his blow that contains 20 years of skill. Boom! Under the spotlight of everyone, a powerful energy burst out from 015's armor, like a dazzling light. This blow caused 015's expression to change suddenly. She obviously did not expect that the man in black would be so powerful at the same time. As a woman, this was the first time for her to be so intimately contacted by a strange man, and she was inevitably a little nervous and uneasy. Despite this, 015 still showed her strength as a super strong person at the Martial King level. With the support of the mecha, she operated flexibly and constantly mobilized energy, trying to resolve the sudden attack just when she was about to fall to the ground. With her superb skills and the powerful power of the mecha, she finally landed smoothly, avoiding more serious consequences. However, Lin Chen's punch was so powerful that even though 015 was protected by a powerful mecha, he could not remove all the power. Poof! She felt a sweet sensation in her throat, and a mouthful of blood couldn't help but spurt out. Seeing this scene, everyone present exclaimed, especially those from the Little Japan Empire. They know that the Bald Eagle Empire's mecha technology is among the best in the world. However, in this battle, not only 008 has been defeated, but now even 015, whose strength is second only to 007, has been injured. This made them shocked and afraid of Lin Chen's strength, and they couldn't help but begin to wonder what kind of monster he was, that he could easily defeat such a powerful opponent. If it weren't for your broad mind and strength, I might have taken a heavy blow just now. Lin Chen, dressed in black, was suspended in mid-air and said indifferently. 007 stared at Lin Chen in black in confusion, and slowly said, Are you Lin Chen? No, more accurately, you should be his clone. Lin Chen's clone smiled lightly and replied nonchalantly, Whether it's the body or the clone, this farce should come to an end. Hearing this, 007's expression became stern, and he issued the order without hesitation: show no mercy, increase the power of the mecha to the maximum. Yes, sir. 010 and 015 responded in unison and took action immediately following 007's order. The three mechas seemed to have undergone a transformation. Not only did they change in form, but more importantly, the energy around them began to surge, as if they might burst out at any time. Go to hell. Let you taste the wrath of the Bald Eagle Empire, 007 roared angrily, and the wings on the back of the mecha suddenly spread out, flying quickly towards Lin Chen. The weapons in their hands were tightly locked on Lin Chen's vital points, and they seemed to have completely forgotten that the original intention of this trip was to capture Lin Chen alive. Facing the sudden approach of the three mechas, Lin Chen's clone appeared extremely calm. He first retreated calmly, keeping a distance from the mecha. Just as the three mechas were lined up in a straight line and ready to go, Lin Chen looked up and looked at the giant frost dragon hovering in the air. Ho ho ho! The giant frost dragon understood it. It suddenly opened its huge mouth, and an ice blast bomb containing extreme cold air was fired directly at the three mechas. Since the three mechas were completely focused on Lin Chen, they were completely defenseless against the frost dragon's attack. When the ice bomb blasted into the mecha, they woke up as if from a dream and realized that they had been trapped. However, it was already too late. The cold air from the ice blast quickly spread inside the mecha, freezing all the pilots and mechanical structures inside. The three mechas of the Bald Eagle Empire turned into three popsicles. Like several mecha pilots of the Little Sun Empire, they lost their combat effectiveness. Fake. What the hell is this? An agent of the Bald Eagle Empire looked at the surrounding situation in horror and couldn't help but curse. Why can't I move? What the hell kind of power is this? Another agent struggled, but found that his body was completely out of control. Damn it, how many superpowers does this kid have? Now our mecha can't be activated. What's going on? 007's voice was full of anxiety and helplessness at this time. Lin Chen approached the group of restrained Bald Eagle Empire agents step by step. With a teasing smile on his face snapped, Lin Chen slapped everyone without hesitation, and the crisp sound echoed in the air. However, he still has some sense of measure. For 007 and 008, he slapped them on the face. For 015, he chose another place. Good. Surprisingly, these three people showed no expressions after being beaten, as if this humiliation was nothing to them. This is in sharp contrast to the weak performance of the Japanese Empire agents encountered before. Lin Chen looked at their reactions and couldn't help but smile. It seems that you people from the Bald Eagle Empire are indeed a bit more backbone than those weaklings from the little Japanese Empire. 007 stared at Lin Chen with blazing eyes. He had never suffered such humiliation. He shouted loudly, "You, either let me die directly or let me go when I return to the Bald Eagle Empire. I don't believe you will bring the director of our MI7. How dare you do this, arrogant? Let me tell you, our director has the strength of the king of martial arts. Without a mecha, if he wears a mecha, he has the level of a king of martial arts. We, the director of the department, can solve problems like you, little Karami, with just one finger." You. Before 007 finished speaking, Lin Chen thoughtfully pulled off one of his fingers. That's a good suggestion. 007 screamed in pain, but he endured the pain and did not beg for mercy. However, Lin Chen had no intention of being soft-hearted. He then started to pull the second and third fingers. His technique is very particular, starting with the wrenched nails and then the fingers. This combination makes him feel more interesting. Lin Chen looked at 007 struggling in pain. He sneered and said, "You people from the Bald Eagle Empire always like to be self-righteous. You think you are so powerful that you can bully other countries at will. Today, I will let you know whose territory this is. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163. It hurts. It hurts. Can you let our captain go?" While Lin Chen continued to torture 007, 015 suddenly spoke, with a hint of pleading and nervousness in her voice. Although 007 was tortured by severe pain and almost fainted, he still stubbornly gritted his teeth and persisted. What are you doing? Even if I die, I won't beg for mercy from him." All his voice was full of determination and unyieldingness. Lin Chen stopped what he was doing and turned his eyes to 015. He did not answer immediately, but quietly looked at the female agent in front of him. 015's mecha has been severely squeezed and deformed, and its original appearance is almost unrecognizable. However, her posture remains elegant and upright. Lin Chen looked at her carefully and found that she was tall and her cheeks were somewhat similar to Ivanka's, but what is different from Ivanka's cold glamour is that her face reveals an innate noble temperament, which makes people look at her. Is it an illusion? Lin Chen couldn't help but start to wonder. He felt that he seemed to see a different temperament from ordinary agents. In order to verify his idea, he immediately opened the system for identification. Name: Tiffany. Race: human. Gender: female. Age: 30. Quality: stunning. Occupation: former Princess Eagle Sauce, now Bald Eagle Empire MI7 Agent. 015 Appearance 97, Body 97, Power S level, Power level Level 5, Psychic. Overall rating 97. Note: she and Ivanka are indeed sisters. However, when the recognition result was clearly displayed in front of Lin Chen's eyes, his eyes widened and his face was full of disbelief. He never expected that this beautiful girl with a cool temperament would actually be Ivanka's sister. But I just don't know why this beautiful girl went to the Bald Eagle Empire. Lin Chen walked up to 015 and whispered in her ear, "If Ivanka knew that you are now in the Bald Eagle Empire, I'm afraid she would be furious." These words seemed to touch 015's sensitive nerves, and her face instantly turned pale and her expression became nervous. The identity of 015 has always been a mystery. No one knows her true identity except the director of MI7. However, Lin Chen seemed to know her identity very well, which made 015 feel an inexplicable fear. She was filled with doubts, wondering how Lin Chen learned this information. "Did you catch Ivanka?" 015's voice was trembling. She had heard of it before. The news that her biological sister Ivanka disappeared while on a mission in the Dragon Kingdom made her deeply wary of Lin Chen. Lin Chen frowned and said dissatisfiedly, "Can you please stop being so unpleasant? What do you mean by being caught by me? Ivanka was the one who was willing to go with me in order to prove his innocence." He turned on his mobile phone, but accidentally exposed a photo of him and Ivanka. You beast." 015 seeing the intimate photo of his sister and Lin Chen, anger and disgust instantly surged into his heart. In her opinion, Lin Chen must have used some means to coerce her sister. This kind of betrayal and humiliation was unacceptable to her, and anger burned in her chest when 010 saw his beloved 015 so angry. He was immediately infected by her emotions. He mistakenly thought that Lin Chen was doing something ulterior, and immediately accused him. "Are you people from the Dragon Kingdom so despicable and shameless? Can you be a little more gentleman? You can know that we in the Bald Eagle Empire at least treat people will maintain basic courtesy and respect." Lin Chen chuckled, a sharp look flashed in his eyes. "I almost forgot about you," he said lightly, then suddenly took action and tore off all 010's fingers and fingernails. Lin Chen seemed to be particularly considerate this time. He deliberately slowed down his movement so that what could have been completed in 1 second lasted a full minute. 010's screams echoed in the empty venue, which was terrifying. Damn it, damn it." 010 howled in pain. His face was as pale as paper, and large beads of sweat rolled down his forehead. "That's enough. Lin Chen, as a person with superpowers, you were recently named Xianluo, so you should have some leeway in doing things." 015 persuaded from the side, with a hint of pleading in her voice. "Anyway, our director has a good relationship with your long Xianluo, so there is no need for you to kill them all." However, Lin Chen didn't seem to care about this. He came close to 010 and whispered, "Your attitude is good, but it would be better if it could be better." As he spoke, he slowly untied 015's frozen hand and stroked it gently. This foreign woman's little hands are indeed unique, delicate and soft. 015 tried to break free from Lin Chen's grasp, but her strength was so insignificant compared to Lin Chen. The two of them were in a stalemate, and the atmosphere became very awkward and tense. Lin Chen smiled faintly. Seeming to enjoy this feeling of being in control of everything, he suddenly took out a lighter from the space power and handed it to 015. "You light a cigarette for me and I'll let you go." Lin Chen's threat was like a cold snake, causing chills in the hearts of everyone present. 015 turned his head suddenly, his face full of disdain and provocation. "Bah! Do you think I am a child? Just based on your words, I will believe you." Lin Chen chuckled, his tone full of threats. "Oh? It seems that you don't value the lives of your comrades. Since you don't choose, don't blame me for being ruthless." As he spoke, he began to slowly pull 010's fingers out of the handcuffs. 010's face instantly turned pale, and the tendons between his fingers and hands were slowly stretched, causing unbearable pain. However, He still clenched his teeth and did not make any sound at this critical moment. 015 suddenly asked urgently, "Are you telling the truth? As long as I light a cigarette for you, you will let us go?" Seeing his sweetheart struggling for him, 010, even though he was sweating profusely in pain and with bulging veins, still shook his head firmly and said, "No, don't 015, you are an agent, you can't do this." But 015 has made up his mind. "Stop talking, I'll light a cigarette for you right now." She picked up the lighter and prepared to light a cigarette for Lin Chen. Lin Chen chuckled, touched 015's head, and teased, "It seems you don't quite know how to please a man." 015 showed a puzzled and delicate face and asked, "What do you mean?" "Nothing, I just want to teach you some techniques to please a man." Lin Chen pinched her face lovingly. "Put the cigarette in your mouth first and light it. Then pass it to me." 015 Although she was born in the powerful Eagle country, she has never experienced such a scene under the gaze of so many people. She felt a little at a loss. But in order to save her comrades, she still chose to compromise. She carefully put the cigarette into her mouth and tried several times before finally lighting it. However, having never smoked before, she accidentally took a deep breath when the cigarette was lit. The strong smoke poured into her lungs, causing her to gasp repeatedly. Ahem. 015 coughed, with an embarrassed blush on his face. And in this scene, although Lin Chen cleverly took out something from the space power to cover his side in order to give 010 and him a space, 010 and the others heard it clearly. 010 The pain in his heart was worse than the pain in his body. He felt that his heart was being torn apart. Pain, it hurts. Chapter 164 Is it polite? Oh, it's really extraordinary to have a beautiful girl serving you. Lin Chen blew out a string of smoke rings happily, took the offered cigarette, took a deep breath and said with satisfaction. 015's eyes flashed with a slightly red light, and she stared at Lin Chen closely as if afraid that he would regret it. He asked cautiously, "Master Lin Chen, you will not break your promise to me before, right?" Lin Chen smiled softly, with a playful arc at the corner of his mouth, and responded, "Oh, don't worry, I will definitely do what I promised you. But before letting you go, you have to let 010 kiss me. What do you think of this proposal?" "You?" 015's eyes widened with anger. She had thought that Lin Chen was a trustworthy person and would at least keep his promise and let her go, but now it seems that he is completely a rogue, and can even be said to be a bad guy. Her heart was full of regret. How could she believe this bad guy's words? Looking at 015's arrogant look that wanted to get angry but was holding back, Lin Chen found it very interesting and continued teasing, "What are you doing? Just tell me if you are willing to do it. If you are not willing, I will. I believe some people are willing." Lin Chen couldn't help but laugh secretly in his heart. These so-called eagle princesses have lived in a superior environment since childhood and know little about the complexity and dangers of human nature. I always naively think that everyone is kind. He didn't know what kind of expression their father would show if he knew that his two daughters had fallen into his hands. Thinking of this, the smile on his lips deepened as he spoke. Lin Chen prepared to walk towards 010 again. As soon as Lin Chen left, 015 was dumbfounded. She didn't know where to go, but when she thought about 015 being tortured again, she seemed to have no choice. "You, Mr. Lin Chen, wait. I promise you, she actually said it. She herself never thought that she would become like this. But to the 010 outside, it felt different. He started to roar, "Beast! Beast!" 010 said angrily and competently, "Hey. I was born, and I wanted to be famous all my life. But today I became the protagonist of a FG thing." Just as 010 was speaking, Lin Chen also moved the things that were blocking his view very considerately. 010 happened to see that 015 actually took the initiative to kiss Lin Chen on the face. "Yeah, I can do it," Lin Chen said indifferently. "Okay, you have to keep your word." 015 completely accepted his fate. This was all for everyone anyway, so he just acted like a rag. She squeezed her little hands tightly. He closed Bling Bling's big eyes, curled his eyelashes slightly, pursed his red lips and slowly leaned towards Lin Chen. However, Lin Chen is still the same Lin Chen. Not you. Woo woo. 015 opened his eyes in shock, his big eyes filled with disbelief and anger because she discovered that the kiss was not on the face, but of course, these were all personally witnessed by 010. "Ah. Lin Chen, damn you, you don't deserve to die. Fake. Do you know you have offended someone? 015's background is not something you can offend. Even the director must be respectful." 010 roared crazily. After a while it hits up sweet. After Lin Chen let go of 015, he looked at her calmly, without a trace of emotion on his face. He said softly, "Okay, You go. I'll let you go. As soon as he finished speaking, with a look from his eyes, the freezing effect that originally enveloped 015 and others disappeared instantly, and they regained their freedom. However, 015 seemed to have lost the ability to speak at this moment, and just stared at Lin Chen angrily and powerlessly. 010, although he wanted to rush forward and fight to the death with Lin Chen, the previous disparity in power made him deeply aware of his own shortcomings in front of a truly strong man. His anger and impulse seemed so insignificant, so he could only hold back his anger and slowly walk towards 015, intending to take her away from this humiliating place. But just as they were about to leave, an ancient magic circle suddenly lit up under their feet, the light flickering and mysterious. Lin Chen, you don't keep your word. 015 finally found her voice, and she accused angrily. However, Lin Chen just glanced at her lightly, his face still as calm as water. A few minutes later, people from both the Bald Eagle Empire and the Little Sun Empire walked up to Lin Chen and knelt down on one knee. They all said, "Hello, Master, I am your most loyal servant 010. Hello, Master, I am your most loyal servant Zingli. Hello, Master, I am your most loyal servant 015. Lin Chen nodded with satisfaction, and then directly announced his order. Men, you only have one mission, and that is to set off immediately, return to your organization, and assassinate all senior figures. Women, you also have a mission, and that is come home with me and be my tool for giving birth. After hearing Lin Chen's order, everyone responded without hesitation. Yes, their voices were firm and powerful. As if they were ready to die in the blink of an eye, all the men had disappeared. They received the order and immediately set off to complete their mission. The women followed Lin Chen silently, all of them with pretty faces, blushing slightly, thinking about welcoming a new life with Mr. Lin Chen soon, and couldn't help but feel a little excited. The reason why Lin Chen did this was because he wanted these empires to feel the fear and chaos caused by the assassination. Ever since Lin Chen set a new record in the killing tower, people from these empires have come to trouble him one by one. He has never taken the initiative to offend these people, but this does not mean that he is afraid of trouble this time. He is ready to play a big game and make these empires pay the price they deserve. Just when Lin Chen was about to fly back to the villa with the people from the Little Sun Empire and the Bald Eagle Empire, he suddenly turned around. I almost forgot about this mermaid in Wu Jin. Mermaid, Chapter 165. Mermaids can do this too? Can't they? Villa area. Lin Chen led the beautiful girls from the Little Sun Empire, the Bald Eagle Empire, and the eye-catching mermaid, and landed lightly and steadily in the villa area. His return seems to have injected new vitality into this peaceful residential area. Although Lin Chen had not been away for long, the women in the villa area were already eagerly looking forward to his return. Whenever Lin Chen goes out, they look forward to it, wanting to see what kind of surprise he will bring back this time, and their biggest entertainment is guessing and appreciating the various beautiful girls Lin Chen brought back. At this moment, Li Wei is leading the women to sweat profusely on the playground of the villa area and carry out daily exercises. Their figures flashed in the sun, full of vitality and power, but suddenly, their eyes were attracted by Lin Chen and his party walking from a distance. Su Yun first noticed the unique mermaid, with a look of surprise on her face. And Su, although you are our boss, you can't be lazy. You also know that Master Lin Chen requires us to continuously improve our physical fitness so that we can enter a new round of battle as soon as possible. After having a baby, Li Wei said politely, Wei, I didn't stop on purpose. It was Lin Chen who brought a fish man back. No, it should be a mermaid. As soon as these words came out, the women on the playground stopped what they were doing and looked in Lin Chen's direction. Their faces were full of surprise and curiosity, as if they had seen some incredible sight. The women ignored the sweat on their bodies and ran towards Lin Chen one after another. When they saw the mermaid up close, the surprise in their eyes was even greater. Chen Lili was even more excited and incoherent. She asked in disbelief, is this really a mermaid? Am I dreaming? I thought I was reading some Andersen fairy tale. But, can this mermaid satisfy Lin Chen's husband? Yan Siqi also sighed. That's right. This mermaid is an aquatic animal, so it may be a bit difficult to communicate with us humans. But with such a cute little face, I am satisfied just by looking at it. Vivian looked up and down and said, this upper body is human and the lower body is mermaid. This structure is indeed what our husband Lin Chen likes. I just don't know if I can enjoy it with husband Lin Chen. I also want to know how mermaids communicate. You said with a smile. This classmate Lin Chen is really versatile. When he was in school, he also liked to tease me. I originally thought he was just young and ignorant, but after so many days of communication, I realized that I shouldn't have pretended to be arrogant when I was studying. I should have given up my arrogance and gone to heaven as soon as possible. The women gathered around Lin Chen and the mermaid, chatting with each other and looking curiously at this mysterious creature from the deep sea. The woman's words became more and more explicit, which made the newly arrived mermaid Ivy feel unhappy. There was obvious anger on her beautiful face. She glared at the women who were discussing happily and said coldly, "Humans, I have remembered all your faces now. As long as I recover, I will be the first to do so. I'll eat you all." As soon as these words came out, the surrounding atmosphere instantly solidified. Everyone looked at her in shock. No one expected that this mermaid would say such cruel words. Although her voice was gentle and sweet, the threat contained in it made people shudder. The girls were so frightened that they turned pale and took a few steps back, as if they were afraid that the mermaid would really pounce on them and bite them. However, Lin Chen stood calmly on the spot, knowing full well that this mermaid posed no actual threat at the moment. He walked forward, looked around, and then said in front of everyone, "Does this mermaid look like she did when we first met each other?" The more she screamed at the beginning, the more uncomfortable she will become when we communicate at night. Do you know this? As Lin Chen spoke, he suddenly brought the girls back to reality, especially Su Yun, Yan Siqi, Chen Lili and others. They were the loudest opponents, but after experiencing so many things, they became Lin Chen's strongest supporters. This change made them surprised and emotional. Seeing the girls gradually calming down from their panic, Lin Chen coughed lightly and broke the brief silence. "Okay, since everyone is fine, let's continue with our daily routine. Don't forget, there are still exercises waiting today." As soon as he finished speaking, Song Yuxin suddenly raised her hand, with curiosity and inquiry shining in her eyes. "Husband Lin Chen, I just have a question, and I will leave after I answer it." Lin Chen nodded slightly, indicating for her to continue. "I just want to know, how does this mermaid communicate with you?" Song Yuxin's question was direct and sharp, and she was obviously very interested in this issue. The girls' eyes once again focused on Lin Chen and the mermaid Ivy, and their curiosity was rekindled. After all, after the apocalypse, most of the women Lin Chen took in more humans. Even if he took in a zombie yesterday, the zombie's body structure still belonged to the human category. If anyone wants to talk the most ruthlessly, it has to be Song Yuxin. Although the girls were talking a lot just now, the mermaid Ivy always maintained an indifferent attitude, as if those words had nothing to do with her. However, when Lin Chen mentioned the topic of her becoming his woman, Ivy's heart finally stirred up. She suddenly realized that the real reason why Lin Chen brought her back was because of her beauty. At this moment, Ivy felt unprecedentedly panicked. She spoke hurriedly, trying to cover up her uneasiness with words. "Lin Chen, if you dare to do something wrong to me, if my father knows about it, you will never be easy. Moreover, the body structure of our mermaids is different from yours. Humans are different, and if you don't understand, you can't communicate with us." When Lin Chen heard this, a meaningful smile appeared on his face. He calmly took out his mobile phone, scrolled through it, and then said, "I really didn't know how to communicate with mermaids at first, but I just opened the Tomato Novel app, and it seemed to mention methods of communicating with mermaids. If you guessed correctly, if so, the lower body of your mermaid is not just a fish tail. It should have a more complex structure that can carry out some form of communication." When Ivy heard this, it was as if a taboo in her heart had been touched. She opened her mouth in shock, but found that she could not refute Lin Chen's words. Her heart was filled with confusion and fear, and she was speechless for a moment. Tomato Novel app? What is that weird thing? Why is there such a thing in there? I must tell my father when I go back. Tomato Novel app is not a good thing. Everyone in the mermaid family must pay attention. Chapter 166 Space Storm. You will definitely suffer evil retribution. Lin Chen, even if I turn into a ghost after death, I will never let you go. Mermaid Ivy's painful cries echoed in the air, filled with endless resentment and anger. "No. No. Please, fake squid." Her voice gradually weakened until it disappeared completely. As if swallowed by endless darkness, Lin Chen stared at the mermaid Ivy, who was locked in the room with indifferent eyes, and then turned to face the dwarf Princess Moira. "Moira, before we return to the Dark Iron Tribe, can you give me a detailed introduction to the tribe?" Lin Chen asked. "That way I can be better prepared." "Of course, husband Lin Chen," Moira responded, her voice full of sincerity. Ever since Lin Chen performed the blood oath, her feelings for Lin Chen have undergone earth-shaking changes. For example, this morning, when Lin Chen came to see her, she dressed herself up happily, expecting to be favored by Lin Chen. However, when she learned that Lin Chen's purpose of this trip was just to take her back to the Black Iron Tribe, she felt a little disappointed. Despite this, Moira is still willing to give everything for Lin Chen as long as she can be with him, even if she can't be his woman. She is willing to do anything for him. Moira took a deep breath and began to introduce the situation of the Dark Iron tribe. As one of the three major tribes of the dwarves, the Dark Iron tribe has unique advantages in forging technology and strength. Although we may not as good as the Bronzebird tribe, but we are still powerful and unique. With that said, Lin Chen took out the Bald Eagle Empire's mecha from his space power, which was a trophy he captured in the battle with the Bald Eagle Empire. He attaches great importance to this mecha and believes that it can play a huge role in battle. However, when Moira saw this mecha, she showed a look of disgust. After taking a glance, she threw it aside and said, "Sir Lin Chen, this is a mecha that has been eliminated by our Black Iron tribe. If I remember correctly, this was sold to the Bald Eagle Empire before disuse." Lin Chen was stunned after hearing this. He originally thought that this mecha was the top scientific superpower on the entire Blue Star, but now it seems that it is so inferior. Moira nodded and explained, "Yes, Master Lin Chen. We call this mecha a mysterious advanced mecha. In the eyes of humans, it may be really good, but if you see our dwarves, you will definitely be surprised if the leader of the Bronzebird tribe can forge an advanced Earth-level mecha." "Zuomji? Earthly level? What does this mean?" Lin Chen asked doubtfully. This was the first time he heard about the dwarves' classification of mechas. Moira smiled slightly and began to explain Lin Chen in detail. "In our dwarves, the levels of mechas from low to high are divided into yellow level, mysterious level, earth level and heaven level. Each level is divided into elementary, intermediate and advanced. This mecha that you regard as a treasure, the armor, is actually just this one level high level mecha that we eliminated, and the tribe leader of our Bronzebird tribe can forge a more powerful earth level high level mecha," Moira said, suddenly reaching out and taking out an exquisite mecha from the space ring. "This mecha is unique in terms of material and texture, giving people a feeling of indestructibility." Lin Chen looked at the mecha carefully. He can be sure that the quality of such a mecha is at least far superior to any mecha he has seen before, at least at a low-level level. Moira introduced, "Sir Lin Chen, this is a mecha specially built for me by my father. It is a low-level mecha of the earth level. Although it is only a low-level mecha of the earth level, it is better than the mecha you just saw. Yes, it's much better. At least, it doesn't have so many side effects." She paused and continued, "Although mechas like those used by the Bald Eagle Empire can raise the strength of superpowers to the Martial King level in a short period of time, it is only a half-step Martial King state and is not a true Martial King state. Martial King, moreover, using that kind of mecha also requires the user's lifespan. We dwarfs will not sacrifice their lifespan for a short-term increase in power. So we will sell that kind of mecha to the Bald Eagle Empire." After hearing Moira's explanation, Lin Chen suddenly realized. He sighed with emotion. It turns out that the dwarves are so good at manufacturing mechas and can actually build so many levels of mechas. Fortunately, I acted quickly. Otherwise I would really be no match against such mechas. Moreover, I acted quickly. This girl actually has a space ring. The strength of this dwarf is indeed worth controlling." Moira's mecha undoubtedly gave Lin Chen a great shock. He began to re-examine the dwarves. This race, which is famous for its forging and craftsmanship, actually has such a profound foundation and strength in mecha manufacturing. At the same time, he was also grateful for his decisive action, otherwise he would have been really difficult to deal with such a powerful mecha. "So," Lin Chen said to Moira, "Okay, in that case, let's set off. I want to see if the Black Iron tribe welcomes me as a son-in-law." "Father will definitely like you, Lord Lin Chen." Moira snuggled against Lin Chen. With a decision made, Lin Chen gently hugged Moira and moved quickly towards the Black Iron tribe station in the hidden underground world. Since Lin Chen had successfully entered the level of King Wu, his speed had already surpassed several times the speed of sound. Therefore, in less than half an hour, they passed through layers of wormholes and continued towards the mysterious underground world. During the flight, Lin Chen used his powerful mental power to detect the deep and unknown world ahead like a radar. He said softly, "It seems that your dwarf tribe is really hidden deep enough. But it is this kind of the sense of mystery fascinates me even more." Just as Lin Chen was using his mental power to detect and explore deep underground, a deafening roar suddenly sounded in the originally silent wormhole. If this kind of sound is heard by a person with powers below the Martial King level, even if it is not fatal, it will cause serious injuries. Boom! This deafening sound was continuous, as if there was no sign of stopping. Seeing this, Moira hurriedly explained, "Lord Lin Chen, this is the space wormhole between the underground world and the above world. From time to time, violent space storms appear here." Lin Chen frowned when he heard this. Moira did not mention the existence of space storms before, but said that when traveling through the above and underground worlds, Some space wormholes may appear from time to time, but now, it is clear that they are facing a more complex and dangerous situation. However, there was no room for him to think too much at this moment. Lin Chen turned his head and said seriously to Moira, "Hold me tight, I'm ready to rush over." Moira also realized the urgency of the situation. She looked solemn, but still hugged Lin Chen firmly. Chapter 167 One Doomsday and One Heaven. The words just fell to the ground. Lin Chen didn't hesitate at all. He took a deep breath, and then activated his Exio Divine Thunder under the control of Lin Chen's thoughts. This mysterious and powerful divine thunder wrapped around his body like a spiritual snake in the flash of lightning. The mighty power gradually appeared. The power of the divine thunder finally gathered into a surging thrust, causing Lin Chen's speed to increase astonishingly again. In order to push the speed to the extreme, Lin Chen was baptized by the space storm and almost turned into a black phantom, like a ghost traveling in the time and space tunnel. His speed was extremely fast, as if he had covered a distance of 10,000 meters. In a flash of lightning, he plunged headlong into the unpredictable and moody space storm. As soon as they entered the center of the storm, deafening thunder sounded one after another, like a roar between heaven and earth. Rumble, rumble, amidst the deafening thunder. Lin Chen felt as if his body was cut by countless sharp blades, and every inch of his skin was suffering unspeakable pain. His body twitched involuntarily a few times, and a hoarse moan came from deep in his throat. The scene in front of him was a challenge that Lin Chen had never encountered before. Every inch of space in the storm was full of danger, which made him feel unprecedented pressure. He couldn't help but feel a strong desire to survive. He didn't want to fall into this storm. The faces of the beautiful girls at home, their smiles, their expectations, and their trust in him flashed in his mind. All of this made Lin Chen more determined to survive. As soon as he thought of this, Lin Chen's expression became more and more solemn, like a dark cloud pressing over his head, gloomy and difficult to dissipate. He knew that the storm he encountered this time was no small matter and was very different from previous challenges in this contest. Any slightest negligence may lead to irreparable serious consequences. Therefore, he must always maintain a high degree of vigilance and not slack off in the slightest. Hold tight. If something unexpected happens due to a moment of negligence, don't blame me for not warning you. Lin Chen felt a huge danger contained in the space storm. His eyes became deep and sharp, and his tone revealed a little displeasure. When Moira heard Lin Chen's warning, she had no extra words and just silently hugged him tighter, as if she wanted to transfer all her strength to him and face this unknown storm with him. At this life and death moment, the trust and tacit understanding between the two reached an unprecedented height. Although Moira is petite, her courage and determination are impressive in this storm. She became Lin Chen's strongest support. Just when Lin Chen tried his best to fly forward, the space storm in front of him suddenly changed. The originally violent storm broke instantly, as if torn apart by an invisible force in the blink of an eye. A brand new space appeared in the broken storm. This sudden change caught Lin Chen off guard. Before he had time to react, he saw a figure suddenly appear in the newly appeared space. The appearance of this figure shocked both Lin Chen and Moira. Out of instinctive caution, Lin Chen made a thought. The giant frost dragon came out in response, standing at the forefront like a majestic mountain, like an indestructible barrier that could resist for a while even if it was attacked. When the mysterious figure caught a glimpse of the giant frost dragon, he was obviously shocked by the sudden behemoth and was briefly stunned. However, he did not flinch, but rushed towards the frost dragon with lightning speed. Lin Chen was filled with doubts. Is this rapidly approaching figure an enemy or a friend? In an unknown situation, he did not dare to be careless at all. Therefore, under the control of Lin Chen, the frost dragon rushed forward without fear and started a duel with the figure. Boom! The collision between the two caused a deafening noise. Although the frost dragon suffered some injuries, the figure did not take advantage of it. Well, after the figure stabilized his body, he praised loudly, "After all these years, you are still the first person who can block my blow. Young man, which tribe are you from? I am willing to accept you as my disciple. You agree?" How? At this moment, the surrounding storm gradually subsided, and Lin Chen could finally see the true face of the mysterious figure. It turned out to be a dwarf. Although he was short in stature, he exuded a powerful force. His face is rough and calm, giving people an inexplicable sense of majesty. He was wearing gorgeous armor and a crown, which made Lin Chen couldn't help but wonder, could this be the rumored leader of the Black Iron tribe? With full of doubts, Lin Chen asked tentatively, Are you the chief of the Black Iron tribe? Chief of the Black Iron tribe? Haha, don't you underestimate me? I am the king of a country of the dwarves. How can I succumb to the position of tribal leader?" The dwarf opposite laughed loudly, and the sound was like a bell, echoing in the space. Lin Chen was shocked by the sudden self-proclaimed king of the dwarfs. He subconsciously asked. Then, "Who are you, my friend? This is not the time to talk in detail." The Dwarf King looked deeply and pointed at the increasingly fierce space storm around him. "You come with me, and I will take you to escape from this raging storm." Just as Lin Chen was about to speak, he saw that the Dwarf King had already rushed in front of him, grabbed his arm, and led him quickly through the layers of space cracks. During the process, the king was also surprised to find Moira next to Lin Chen. "Hey, isn't this Moira? Why are you here too? However, let's escape from here first and then talk about it." Half an hour later, the Dwarf King brought Lin Chen to an unexpected open space through a series of space cracks. Here, it is actually an underground world, no different from the above-ground world, like a peach blossom garden hidden underground. Lin Chen looked around, amazed in his heart. He had never thought that there was such a vast and vibrant space underground. "This is the home of our dwarves," the Dwarf King introduced with a smile. "A mysterious place hidden underground, but no different from the world above. Welcome, little friend." Lin Chen looked around, his eyes full of surprise and curiosity about this mysterious underground world. This so-called dwarf homeland unfolded a unique picture before his eyes. He carefully looked at the surrounding environment. The buildings here were in sharp contrast with the dilapidation and desolation of the above world. If the current world on Earth is experiencing the desolation and ruin of the last days, then the underground world is like a paradise on Earth, full of vitality and vitality. Lin Chen sighed deeply. A doomsday and a paradise. The difference between the two is simply worlds of difference. The world above is full of ruins and dilapidation, and people are struggling to survive. But here, the dwarves have built an orderly and hopeful home, as if everything is under their control. Chapter 168. The Imperial Capital of the Dwarves, Ironforge. "Hello, little friend. I am the king of the dwarves, Uncle Bronzebird. If we are destined to be together and you become my apprentice, then you can call me Master King." Bronzebird said kindly, and at the same time extended his right hand to Lin Chen to show friendship. Lin Chen was looking around curiously. After hearing what King Bronzebird said, he turned his head and looked at the short but majestic king. He smiled politely and replied, "Hello, King Bronzebird. My name is Lin Chen. Regarding the matter of becoming a disciple, I don't think we need to rush. After all, this is the first time we have met, and we don't know each other very well yet. You don't want to accept an unknown person as your apprentice, right? So, King, let's take a long-term view on this matter." After hearing this, King Bronzebird laughed loudly. "Ha ha ha, you kid, you are interesting. The humans I have met either look down on my dwarf figure or stay away from me. You are the first one who dares to talk to me like this. Period. Yes, I really did not misjudge my temper." The Bronzebird King paused and asked curiously, "However, I would like to know how you brought the precious daughter of that boy from the Black Iron tribe here? That boy is a daughter slave, and he is a slave to his daughter." "My daughter is very careful." After hearing this, Lin Chen couldn't help but frown slightly. He said lightly, "King, I am very grateful to you for taking me out of that terrible space storm, but it seems inappropriate to ask other people's privacy so directly. Oh, you humans just have so much on your mind." King Bronzebird smiled and said, "However, I have fallen in love with you. Come back to Ironforge with me, you will like it there." As he said that, he looked at Lin Chen carefully and then said, "Don't reject me in a hurry. Believe me, if you miss Ironforge, you will regret it in your life. Of course, if you really don't want to go, I won't force it, but if you do that, you may have no chance of using the earth-level mecha that our dwarves have carefully crafted." When Lin Chen heard this, his heart moved. He has long heard about the dwarves' extraordinary skills in mecha manufacturing, and it can even be said that he has been admired for a long time. This chance encounter with King Bronzebird was undoubtedly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for him. "Okay, I'll go to Ironforge with you." Lin Chen agreed readily without any further hesitation. "Haha, I knew you would say that." King Bronzebird looked very happy. "Come, let's set off. The adventures and treasures of Ironforge are waiting for you." After accepting the kind invitation from King Bronzebird, Lin Chen took Moira with him and embarked on the journey to Ironforge. Ironforge, this mecha holy land with a high reputation among the dwarves, has an irresistible attraction for all dwarves who aspire to become a forging master. According to King Bronzebird, Ironforge holds a grand forging competition every year, and all kinds of exquisite mechas, armors and weapons will be unveiled here. However, mecha is always the leader of the competition. After all, for short dwarves, putting on a mecha and immediately transforming into a giant several meters tall is what they dream of. This shocking experience is undoubtedly what they dream of. As Lin Chen continued to accelerate his flight, the distant scenery gradually came into view. After flying for nearly half an hour, he vaguely saw the outline of the city covered in snow in front of him. When they approached the snow-covered land, Lin Chen was surprised to find that besides the three of them, there were other flying objects in the sky. These flying objects are not ordinary aircraft, but flying superpowers carrying dwarves. Lin Chen was dumbfounded. The speed and flexibility of these flying superpowers far exceeded the human aircraft he knew. King Bronzebird saw this and explained proudly, "This is the pride of our dwarves, the flying superpower. Its fastest speed can reach several times that of your human Boeing aircraft. However, due to its high cost, ordinary people can. It's out of reach. Only our big dwarf family is qualified to use it." Seeing the twinkling light in Lin Chen's eyes, King Bronzebird took the opportunity to seduce. "How about you become my disciple? After becoming my disciple, you can have as many flying superpowers as you want." After hearing this, Lin Chen couldn't help but smile and responded, "King Bronzebird, how about you give me a flying superpower first, then maybe I can consider becoming your apprentice." "Ha ha ha," King Bronzebird laughed, "You boy, you have a big appetite. However, I like your straightforwardness. But you still need to be willing to become a disciple. As for the flying superpower, I will wait until you officially become me. After becoming my apprentice, I will naturally not miss you." While the two were chatting and laughing, Iron Forge was already in front of them. This snow-covered city is like a bright pearl embedded in the vast snowfield. When Lin Chen and his party finally arrived at the majestic gate, the three characters Iron Forge were engraved on the door. Only then did he truly appreciate the magnificence of this city. Looking in from the gate, everything is as far as the eye can see. There are huge clusters of crimson buildings, endless, as if there is no end. The grandeur and complexity of this building are breathtaking. As far as the eye can see, there are only a series of buildings. But it is difficult to see the whole picture. The only thing that can be clearly identified is a huge iron furnace in the center, with magma surging inside and blazing flames. This scene made Lin Chen deeply feel that Iron Forge was known as the capital of mechas. And it was indeed well deserved. On the road leading from the gate to the city, there is an endless stream of various mechas and scientific transportation devices. Their structural design is simple and efficient, exuding a domineering style that even the top sports car Bugatti Veyron cannot compare with. Lin Chen stared at this seemingly endless city, filled with emotions. "This is Iron Forge, right?" he murmured to himself, with endless exclamation in his tone. Although Lin Chen had traveled to many big cities, this was his first time seeing a super city like Iron Forge. Different from the human cities we have seen before, the architectural style and scale here appear more majestic and peculiar. In the Dragon Kingdom, although the imperial capital is also a large-scale city, it is after all a gathering place for ordinary humans. The Iron Forge in front of you gives people a strong and mysterious feeling like a castle. Lin Chen even suspected that the city itself was a huge castle, and every building was filled with the ingenuity and wisdom of the dwarves. Chapter 169 Earth-level Mecha Flame Rose. "Haha, little friend, your surprised expression really makes me feel at ease." King Bronzebird smiled and said, "Our current location is only the outer city of Iron Forge, and as the king, I live in the inner city. However, both the inner city and the outer city are an integral part of Iron Forge. Now, you should be able to understand why am I so dismissive of those so-called Black Iron tribes." Seeing Lin Chen's astonished expression, King Bronzebird was filled with emotion. Although this Iron Forge is called fort, its scale is definitely not comparable to that of your human city. If we just talk about the area, it is at least dozens of times larger than your human imperial capital, or even more. Lin Chen subconsciously wiped the sweat from his forehead and marveled in his heart that the size of Iron Forge was simply beyond imagination. This is not just a city, it's like a small world if you compare the area of the imperial capital with Iron Forge. Iron Forge is simply a giant. Lin Chen secretly thought that even if he used all his strength to fly, it would probably take a long time to cross this huge Iron Forge. "There are not many people here now," King Bronzebird said with a proud smile. "When the forging competition comes, you will see that this huge Iron Forge will become crowded and lively." He paused, looked at Lin Chen and continued, "Little friend, are you interested in participating in the forging competition? However, if you want to participate, you must first become my apprentice." Hearing this, Lin Chen showed a bitter expression, and finally shook his head and rejected King Bronzebird's proposal. He originally thought that the end of the world was coming and that mankind had entered decline, but now it seems that some people are living in a hellish apocalypse, while others are living a heavenly life in this world. This so-called end of the world may only be for human beings. King, let's go see the mecha quickly. Lin Chen's thoughts returned to reality, and he was still very interested in mechas after all. Such high-tech superpower equipment made him deeply appreciate the powerful power of science and technology. "You kid. You are always so impatient." King Bronzebird smiled and shook his head. "But who made me fall in love with you?" But before he finished speaking, The bracelet on his hand suddenly started flashing continuously. He put the bracelet to his ear and exchanged a few words in the dwarf language that Lin Chen couldn't understand. A few minutes later the Bronzebeard King put down his bracelet and his expression became a little solemn. "Little friend, I'm really sorry. I suddenly have some urgent matters that need to be dealt with. You and Moira can go to the city for a walk first. If it's convenient, I hope I can test your soul realm." "Soul realm? What is that?" Lin Chen asked curiously. "Look at you. Without the guidance of a teacher, you know nothing about this." King Bronzebeard sighed. "Today I will temporarily act as your teacher and give you a brief explanation. For people with superpowers, the improvement of the soul realm is the key to becoming a strong person. If one day your soul realm can no longer improve, then your strength will also. That's it. Moreover, the level of soul realm directly determines the strength of forging. The higher a person's soul realm, the more capable he is of forging high-level mechas, and the soul realm, relative to the levels of superpowers, is the human realm, the spiritual realm, the heaven realm and the emperor realm. And then each realm starts from the first level, and the highest is the 9th level," he explained. "Okay, I will tell you this today. You need to study other things slowly by yourself. I will take a step first and wait for you to come to my palace to find me the day after tomorrow." As the words fell, the figure of the Bronzebeard King gradually disappeared in front of Lin Chen. "This king is not reliable at all. How about we go shopping next?" Lin Chen turned around and suggested to Moira. "Okay. My father took me to Iron Forge once when I was a child, but at that time I was in a hurry and left quickly. I haven't been able to visit it yet," Moira said playfully. Hearing what Moira said, Lin Chen also smiled, and then slowly landed, preparing to start their journey to Iron Forge. However, at this moment, a violent spatial tremor suddenly came from behind them. Lin Chen looked back, and a huge pink mecha transport ship suddenly came into view. It was suspended in the sky like a behemoth. The appearance of this pink mecha immediately became the focus of everyone's attention. People around stopped to watch, and their exclamations of exclamation kept coming and going. "Oh my god, is this the legendary ground-level mecha transport ship? Who on earth has such a grand appearance? Could it be that he is a child of some big family? No, this looks more like a flaming rose. Could it be that Her Royal Highness Princess Lolita is here in person? It's not like Her Highness Lolita is not that high profile." The noisy chatter around him made Lin Chen involuntarily cast a curious look. He was not particularly interested in the princess. What really moved his heart was the mecha called Flame Rose, which exuded a mysterious and alluring charm. In Lin Chen's perception, the Earth-level mecha is undoubtedly a rare and precious mechanical behemoth, as hard to reach as a treasure. However, the Flame Rose in front of him seemed to break this inherent concept, making him feel that such a mecha might not be out of reach. But Lin Chen didn't realize that Flame Rose was no ordinary mecha. This mecha was an adult gift specially customized by King Bronzebeard for his daughter. It was far more precious than ordinary Earth-level mechas in major auctions. Such mechas are hot treasures, attracting countless people to bid for them. However, for Lolita, a dwarf princess, the Fire Rose may be just one of her luxurious cars. She has long been accustomed to such dignity and glory. It seems that learning forging technology is also an option worth considering, Lin Chen murmured to himself, his eyes flashing with desire for the unknown realm. He originally thought that King Bronzebeard was just exaggerating, but now that he saw Lolita's car and the upcoming forging competition in Iron Forge, he was so impressed by King Bronzebeard's forging skills. "Actually, our Black Iron Tribe's forging skills are quite good," Moira pouted and said with some dissatisfaction, as if she didn't want Lin Chen to underestimate their tribe's skills. Okay, I know that your Black Iron Tribe's forging skills are also very high." Lin Chen smiled and reassured. "If you don't want me to learn from King Bronzebeard, then I will learn from your father. However, I guess your father may be looking for you everywhere now." As he spoke, he patted Moira's little head lovingly while the two were chatting. Fire Rose has sailed majestically into the gates of Iron Forge. The prosperity and excitement of the city seemed to be boiling with the arrival of this mecha. "Let's go and see what is worth visiting in Iron Forge." Lin Chen smiled, took Moira's little hand, and the two of them blended into the hustle and bustle of the city. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170. Your Highness Lolita. Half an hour later, Lin Chen accompanied the tired Moira into a lively restaurant. It wasn't that he didn't want to explore the wonders of Iron Forge, it was just that he couldn't bear to see Moira looking tired, so he chose to let her take a rest in the restaurant first. After placing Moira, Lin Chen said softly, "I want to go out for a walk again." It would be great if I could find a place to test my soul realm. Moira was lying on the bed. Although she couldn't move, she still tried her best to turn her head and asked, "Do you need me to accompany you?" Lin Chen smiled and shook his head. "No, just have a good rest here. I will be back soon." After briefly chatting with Moira, Lin Chen stepped out of the restaurant. In fact, when he just passed by the restaurant, he heard the comments from passers-by. They said that in the outer city of Ironforge, there is a mysterious stone tower that can not only test the realm of souls, but also evaluate forging technology. This news surprised Lin Chen. I couldn't help but murmur in my heart, is this stone tower really so powerful? However, he soon figured it out. The main purpose of my trip is to test the soul realm. As for the forging technology, it doesn't matter even if the test is average. So, he walked towards the stone tower with great expectation. Within 10 minutes, Lin Chen arrived near the stone tower. The sight in front of him made him slightly stunned. He saw a long queue forming around the stone tower. Seeing so many people queuing up here to wait for the test, he knew that he was new here, so he could only wait in line patiently. However, while queuing, he was full of expectation and curiosity, not knowing what kind of surprise this mysterious stone tower would bring him. As time passed quietly, Lin Chen finally arrived at the entrance of the stone tower. However, just as he was about to step into the mysterious stone tower, a loud noise suddenly came from behind. "Go away. You short-sighted guys, how dare you block Our Lady's way? Do you know who Our Lady is? She is the second lady of the Bronzebird family, one of the 3 major families in Ironforge." A rude man said. The voice shouted arrogantly. Lin Chen ignored the unreasonable noise and was still preparing to enter the stone tower. But the moment he was about to step into the door, the big man who had been shouting just now squeezed over and roughly pushed Lin Chen aside. "Boy, didn't you hear what I said just now? Is this a place where people like you should come? This is the territory of the dwarves. Why are you elves here to join in the fun?" The big man mocked with disdain. Hearing this, Lin Chen was stunned for a moment. It turned out that they mistakenly thought he was an elf. He smiled faintly and said nonchalantly, "Since you know that I am an elf, then you dwarves are too overbearing. Humph, we are bullying the elves. Boy, I advise you to be wise and not get into trouble. This is our young lady. What she dislikes most in her life is fighting with others, especially the weak. So, you'd better stay away from us." Further, the big man said with an arrogant look, obviously not taking Lin Chen seriously. Lin Chen looked at this so-called second young lady, and his eyes suddenly lit up. Although she is short in stature, her facial features are as delicate and beautiful as sculptures, and her red lips are full and attractive. She has a graceful figure, with graceful curves. She is convex in places that should be convex and thin in places that should be thin, which makes her unforgettable. She is wearing a floral skirt, and her innocent expression, giving people a cute feeling like Diona in Genshin Impact. Although the system has not yet used the system to identify the second young lady, Lin Chen has already felt that she has a completely different temperament from Moira. She exudes an exquisite mature woman's atmosphere, which makes people fall in love with her. Lin Chen thought to himself, such a woman must not have a husband yet, right? Of course, if there is, he will not dislike it. When he came to Shida to prepare for the test, he met such a beautiful woman. Lin Chen was a little distraught and even had the idea of not wanting to test. However, Lin Chen's heart moved. He turned around and said to the second lady with a gentle smile, "I was really rude just now. I failed to notice the arrival of the second lady in time. I dare to ask the second lady, are you here for the test today? In the soul realm? Isn't this nonsense? If you don't come to test the soul realm, what are you doing here?" The big man frowned and turned his head away with a fierce expression. "You kid, why do you have so many questions, Uncle Tan? Don't be like this." A soft voice interrupted the big man's scolding, and it was the second young lady who spoke. "Hello, my name is Lolita. I am indeed here to take part in a soul test today, but to be honest, I don't have much confidence in my own strength. Although I was finally promoted to level 8 with great difficulty when I was about 20 years old, but I'm still worried that I won't be able to pass this soul realm test." As soon as Lolita finished speaking, exclamations erupted from the people lining up around her. "Oh my god, a 20-year-old level 8 superpower? This is simply unbelievable. Back then, King Bronzebird might not have had such strength at this age. It seems that Her Highness Lolita is expected to become the next generation of our dwarves. A king, yes, reaching level 8 powers at the age of 20 is rare in the entire history of the dwarves. Even the legendary genius girl Moira is only a level 7 power user at this age. I guess, Her Highness Lolita's soul realm may have reached an unattainable spiritual realm. This is a realm that many forging masters dream of. Maybe we are really lucky enough to see the first heaven-level machine. The armor was made by Her Highness Lolita herself. There were a lot of comments around her, but Lolita just smiled and didn't say much, and Lin Chen finally recalled at this moment, wasn't this the Lolita who was riding the flame rose just now? Just when Lin Chen was about to talk to Lolita again, an old man walked out of the stone tower. He scanned the crowd sharply and finally landed on Lolita. Oh, I'm so rude. I failed to welcome Her Highness Lolita in time. The old man walked quickly to Lolita and said respectfully, Your Highness Lolita, if you don't mind, can you move to the VIP area for testing? Lolita nodded, turned around and showed a sweet smile to Lin Chen. Handsome guy, I'm going to go in for the test first. I hope to see you again when I come out. After saying that, she followed the old man into the stone tower. Chapter 171 Soul Test? No, I'm here to collect the Micha. Watching Lolita walk into the stone tower, Lin Chen also planned to follow in for testing. However, as soon as he started, the big man named Uncle Tan blocked his way again. Boy, do you really plan to go in? Uncle Tan asked with a joking face. I'm not telling you, since Our Lady has fallen in love with you, why are you going in to bother? If it were me, I would just wait here for the lady to come out. Lin Chen frowned and said in confusion, What are you talking about? Get out of the way, I want to go in for a test. Hey, you kid, why are you so stubborn and disobedient? Uncle Tan still stood in front of Lin Chen and said reluctantly, If you don't go in, you might be able to become Our Lady's follower based on your pretty face. But if you go in, your strength will be tested later. If it doesn't work, then Our Lady really doesn't like you. Lin Chen felt bored after hearing this. He didn't want to waste any more time talking to this big and unruly man, so he pushed Uncle Tan away without hesitation and walked straight into the stone tower. Uncle Tan's joking voice came from behind, but he did not look back after entering the stone tower. Lin Chen had a simple negotiation with the old man. The old man handed him a number plate and directed him to the corresponding room for testing. Lin Chen took the number plate from the old man's hand, glanced at him calmly, and asked in a deep voice, Does this stone tower have any testing restrictions? There was a hint of curiosity and exploration in his tone. The old man was slightly startled when he heard this. Obviously he didn't expect this young man to ask such a question. He slowly explained, This stone tower is not located in the center of Iron Forge, so there are indeed test restrictions. At present, the highest test limit is the 6th level spiritual realm. However, you don't think you can reach such a level of strength? There was a hint of doubt in the old man's words. Lin Chen replied almost without thinking, Then let's test the 6th grade spiritual realm. His tone was firm and confident, as if he had a full understanding of his own strength. As soon as these words came out, many people in the stone tower focused their attention on this young man, especially Uncle Tan, who had just had a conflict with Lin Chen. He sneered directly, Humph, boy, you are not afraid of flashing your tongue before speaking. Do you know that even our young lady only dares to test the 2nd level spiritual realm? His tone was full of disdain and ridicule. However, Lin Chen didn't seem to care about Uncle Tan's sneer and the doubts from people around him. He just looked at the old man indifferently, waiting for further instructions. The old man looked at him with complicated eyes and reminded him again, Young man, this is no joke. Once you choose to test the 6th grade spiritual realm, we, Shida, will not be responsible for anything that goes wrong. Don't worry, I will be responsible for anything that goes wrong. Lin Chen still remained calm and confident. Can I come into the room now to test? He asked. Seeing Lin Chen's persistence and confidence, the old man couldn't help but start to re-examine the young man. He wanted to persuade this young man who might be a fool or a genius, but then he thought about it. It had nothing to do with him, so he pointed to a room and said, You can just go to that room. But I want to remind you that the test of the soul realm is unusual. It can range from being injured and turning into a fool, to severe death and disappearing. You put life first. Thank you for reminding. Lin Chen smiled and nodded to express his thanks, and then walked into the designated room without hesitation. His back looked particularly firm and confident in the sunshine. Half an hour later, the VIP room slowly opened, and the beautiful girl in a floral skirt just now walked out with a proud look on her face. It is not difficult to see that she has passed the test of the 2nd grade spiritual realm. When the old man saw Lolita, he immediately came forward and complimented, Your Highness Lolita, congratulations to you. You have been promoted from the 1st level spiritual realm to the 2nd level spiritual realm at such a young age. Such talent and strength are really impressive to me. Very impressed. Uncle Tan also came over at this time, handed a bottle of water in his hand, and asked with concern, Miss, are you not tired? Drink some water and take a rest. Lolita took the water and replied with a smile, I'm not tired, but I feel like my soul has been sublimated. This test is really rewarding for me." After saying that, she seemed to remember something and asked curiously, "Where's that handsome guy just now? Isn't he out yet? Will he die in the test?" Uncle Tan asked angrily. "What do you mean? How could he die in there? I think he is so young. Although he is not strong enough, he can die easily. After all, tests in the human realm usually do not kill people. He will not go there." "Are you testing the soul realm of the spiritual realm?" Suddenly, Lolita seemed to have thought of something and said with a surprised face, "Miss, I don't know. This guy went to test the 6th level spiritual realm." Uncle Tan said with a sarcastic expression. Ever since Lin Chen stepped into the heavy door, an emotionless mechanical sound echoed inside the room, as if it was an announcement from another world. "The rules of the soul realm test are simple and concise. You must try your best to defeat all the mechas in front of you within 10 minutes. No matter which method you use, the system will accurately evaluate your performance." Lin Chen nodded slightly, his eyes firm, ready to face the upcoming challenge. This so-called room is actually a magnificent trial ground, empty and deep, full of endless challenges and possibilities. As Lin Chen nodded, the rumbling sound of mechanical operations suddenly sounded from the trial site. Mechas of different shapes fell from the sky and were scattered in every corner of the venue. These mechas are exquisitely designed and powerful, at least at the intermediate 1 level. This mysterious stone tower obviously put a lot of effort into testing Lin Chen's soul realm. However, what Lin Chen didn't know was that usually only 1 or 2 mechas were arranged in each stone tower test room for testing. Only because he directly chose the highest difficulty of this test site, he faced the challenge of nearly 10 mechas at once. But these details are not important to Lin Chen. He concentrated his energy, took a deep breath, and prepared to fight. As his thoughts moved, the secrets of clones and shadows appeared in front of him at the same time, and divine thunder circled around him, shining with a soul-stirring light. Immediately afterwards, he moved and rushed towards the mechas like lightning. Chapter 172. "See you at the restaurant tonight, young lady." "Young lady?" 1 minute later, Lin Chen looked steadily at the mecha lying on the ground. He stepped forward and knocked on it, carefully checking whether there was any damage. His behavior was not out of malicious sabotage, but to evaluate the results of the battle when facing these mechas. Lin Chen actually felt a little uneasy. He was not sure about the strength of these mysterious level mechas and whether they would pose a strong challenge. Therefore, at the beginning of the battle, he went all out and released his powers without reservation. This is not only to compete for these mechas, but also to test whether one's own strength can match them. At this moment, looking at the stationary mechas on the ground, Lin Chen secretly rejoiced. Fortunately, among the misfortunes, there should be no big problem with these 10 mechas. I will accept them reluctantly. However, he also knew in his heart that the number of these mechas was far from enough. His goal was to equip every woman he loved with a mecha. Therefore, he still needs to participate in more tests and win more mechas. However, after the mecha was defeated, the door to the room failed to open. Lin Chen touched the door in confusion and couldn't help frowning and thinking, is there something wrong with the test system? He didn't want to stay here any longer. He also wanted to participate in more tests and win more mechas. So, at the next moment, Lin Chen's expression suddenly froze. He mobilized the superpowers in his body and suddenly blasted towards the closed door. Just hearing a loud rumbling sound, the door of the room burst open instantly, and debris flew everywhere. When Lin Chen disappeared behind the closed door, time passed little by little. Lolita, Uncle Tan and others outside began to whisper, their faces full of doubts and speculations. While waiting, people's hearts were filled with all kinds of speculations, as if they could feel the tense atmosphere emanating from behind the door. Uncle Tan sneered disdainfully, while Lolita shook her head slightly, which seemed to indicate Lin Chen's failure. Suddenly, a deafening loud noise broke the silence, and everyone's eyes were attracted invariably. Amidst the smoke, a black shadow slowly walked out. When the smoke dissipated, Lin Chen's figure gradually became clear. He stood there as if he had experienced a battle, but his eyes shone with determination. Seeing Lin Chen appear, Uncle Tan's face immediately showed a disdainful smile, which was full of ridicule and contempt. Lolita raised the corners of her mouth slightly and shook her head slowly, as if to say, it seems you failed in their understanding. Testing the soul realm is such a solemn thing. How could anyone leave the room alone? What if the door was broken? They mistakenly thought that Lin Chen lost control because of too much fear and even destroyed the door. People in the room had different reactions. Some were shocked, some were emotional, but most of them looked at her with pity. They all seemed to be thinking that the young man's words before were too exaggerated, but now it seemed that they were just blowing the truth. Uncle Tan's harsh laughter echoed in the stone tower, and he taunted loudly, let me tell you, how can this kid pass the test of the 6th grade spiritual realm? Look, the test of the soul realm also broke the door of the stone tower's room. This guy will inevitably lose money. However, at this moment, the old man of Shida, Elder Tuo, came over. He frowned at Uncle Tan and said calmly, "Do you know what kind of material the door of this stone tower is made of? Do you think anyone can destroy it?" Although Elder Tuo's voice was not loud, it had an unquestionable majesty. Uncle Tan's laughter stopped suddenly. He snorted and tried to refute. "Elder Tuo, why are you people from Stone Tower talking for outsiders? Do you know that he is from the elf clan?" Elder Tuo sighed and said slowly, "Thankfully you are also a member of the Bronzebird family, so you can't see it." Not only did this son pass the test of the 6th level spiritual realm this time, but his achievements don't stop there. As soon as Elder Tuo finished speaking, the entire stone tower fell into a brief silence. People looked at Lin Chen in disbelief, as if they were re-evaluating this young man's strength and potential. Elder Tuo continued, "I even think that this boy needs to go to the headquarters for more advanced tests." The so-called headquarters is located in the center of Iron Forge, where countless forging masters yearn for. If you want to enter the headquarters for the test, you must at least reach the soul realm of heaven. This news was undoubtedly a huge shock to everyone present. However, Lin Chen seemed quite indifferent to Elder Tuo's suggestion. He said casually, "Elder Tuo, why don't you forget it? I'm just doing a casual test this time." It seems that going to the headquarters for a test is not a big deal to him. Hearing this, Elder Tuo also nodded, then took out a document with the official seal of Shida and handed it to Lin Chen, saying, "Since you don't want to go, I can't make it difficult for you, but if you think about it one day, yes, you can take this document for testing. After all, it's not easy to get in without an invitation letter." Taking the document, Lin Chen respectfully expressed his gratitude. This document seemed very ordinary, but not everyone could get it. Everyone in the stone tower turned their attention to Lin Chen, especially the document in his hand. The noisy stone tower suddenly became silent, and everyone realized the importance of this document. Who wouldn't want to get a document with an official seal presented by the Shida official? Once you get it, you will be on the threshold of becoming a great blacksmith. Uncle Tan's expression was gloomy. After a moment, he couldn't bear it any longer and said, "Elder, why don't you check it out? What if there is something wrong with your stone tower test? It's not your turn to intervene in Shida's affairs." Elder Tuo interrupted him, his tone revealing displeasure. I'm not afraid that if there is something wrong with the test, then this kid really goes to the headquarters for the test, and he will lose face to you, Shida." Uncle Tan quickly persuaded Elder Tuo. When he saw that he was angry at this time, Lolita slowly came back to her senses and looked at Lin Chen with complex eyes. Originally, she looked at Lin Chen because he was handsome, but who knew that Lin Chen was stronger than her? This undoubtedly left an indelible impression on her heart. It turns out that he is not the strongest genius. However, Lolita was from the Bronzebird family after all, so she still came over and greeted Lin Chen. "Handsome boy, you are really strong. If possible, I really hope to learn from you," Lolita said with a smile. "Little sister, you are also very strong. If little sister wants to study, you can come to the restaurant to find me tonight. Remember to be alone." Lin Chen responded. Lolita? Chapter 173 Revenge. Lolita originally just wanted to have a good chat with Lin Chen, but who would have thought that Lin Chen would still be the same Lin Chen even when he came to Iron Forge, the imperial capital of the dwarves? He was still the same person and had not changed. So Lolita suddenly found that when facing Lin Chen, she couldn't be as calm as usual. Her bright eyes shone with shyness and expectation, and her usually calm face was as red as the morning glow at this moment, looking extremely moving. This is not impossible," Lolita blurted out, surprising even herself with her intuition. This sentence seemed to turn on a switch, making her heart beat faster and the blush on her cheeks become more obvious. At this moment, Uncle Tan's voice broke the brief silence. He obviously noticed something unusual about Lolita, so he eagerly interjected, "Miss, the master of the house is still waiting for us at home. Do you want to go back first?" When? Lolita responded in a daze, as if she had not yet recovered from her conversation with Lin Chen just now. "King, no," the master said, "I must see you immediately." There was a hint of urgency in Uncle Tan's tone. Only then did Lolita come back to her senses. She looked at Lin Chen with a sweet smile on her face. "Handsome guy, I have something to do and I have to go home first. See you at the restaurant tonight." After saying that, she turned around and hurried away with Uncle Tan. Lin Chen looked at Lolita's leaving figure, smiled slightly, and was about to leave. He has completed the Soul Realm test and is quite satisfied with the results. However, his departure did not calm everyone in the stone tower. A few minutes later, Elder Tuo walked out of the stone tower with a solemn expression. He wiped the sweat from his face and announced in a slightly trembling voice, "Everyone, The stone tower has important matters that need to be closed today. Please move to other stone towers for testing. Thank you for your understanding and cooperation." As soon as he finished speaking, he quickly closed the door of the stone tower, not giving anyone a chance to ask. However, the crowd began to whisper and discuss what had just happened. "Did you hear that? That handsome guy just killed all the mechas in the stone tower in 1 minute, so the stone tower couldn't be closed. Destroy all the mechas? Are you kidding me? They are at least 1 level or above mechas. Placed anywhere, they are at least about the level of level 8 or 9 superpowers. Or even more. The mechas in the stone tower of Ironforge have thicker skins and can withstand beatings than the mechas used by ordinary large families. Otherwise, they would not be used to test a realm of souls." So when it was mentioned that because the mechas were eliminated one by Lin Chen, the soul realm that had been tested, and the people who had not finished the test all gathered around. "Good boy, that kid is only about 20 years old at most, but he can be so powerful. If you think of him, he won't be the king of martial arts, right? Isn't it possible? King Wu, what kind of existence is that? Even in the entire Ironforge, why would people of that level think about coming here for testing? Yes, the real martial king has a dedicated person accompanying him to the headquarters for testing. How could he come to the stone tower test alone?" Everyone expressed their opinions, but besides King Wu, who can blow up all the mechas in this stone tower? An old man came out and asked, "Perhaps this guy is from a big family and has some kind of earth level mecha? After all, some people are willing to make their soul realm look good, and they won't use any means." Someone said. As soon as these words came out, everyone began to suspect cheating. Of course, what they said was also heard by Elder Keishi Tachuo inside. At this moment, Lin Chen had returned to the noisy restaurant. "Sir Lin Chen, you are finally back. How is the situation?" Moira quickly got up from the bed, faced him expectantly, and asked all the doubts in her heart. Lin Chen smiled softly and replied, "What else can I do?" The test passed successfully. There was a hint of pride and satisfaction in his tone that was difficult to conceal. Moira's eyes shone when she heard this, and then she changed into a coquettish look, blinked her big eyes that were as bright as stars, and asked, "Then, have you brought me anything delicious?" Coming back, her tone was full of anticipation, as if she had already smelled the aroma of delicious food. Although Lin Chen easily passed the seemingly simple soul realm test today, only he could fully understand the mental pressure and exhaustion involved. Therefore, before he had time to say a few more words, he felt a strong sense of sleep coming over him and quickly fell into sleep. When Lin Chen woke up from his deep sleep, night had fallen. He rubbed his hazy eyes, and the agreement with Lolita immediately appeared in his mind. Thinking of meeting her soon, he couldn't help but feel an inexplicable excitement in his heart, so he hurried downstairs. At this moment, he met Uncle Tan in the restaurant. The old man who always sat calmly in a corner. Lin Chen hurriedly stepped forward, bowed his hands politely and said, "Boy Lin Chen, I have met Uncle Tan. May I ask you, where's Miss Lolita?" At the moment, Uncle Tan raised his head and looked at Lin Chen for a moment. Then he slowly pointed to a dimly lit place outside the restaurant. "She's waiting for you there." "Okay, thank you, Uncle Tan." Lin Chen nodded, and then walked in the direction that Uncle Tan pointed. However, he did not notice that after he left, Uncle Tan lit a cigarette and followed him quietly. Lin Chen was walking when he suddenly stopped and turned around to face Uncle Tan, with a deep smile on his lips. "Uncle Tan, is it almost done? Call all your people out." A trace of surprise flashed in Uncle Tan's eyes, but was quickly replaced by a sneer. Yes. Boy, you are quite smart and know that I am secretly planning to deal with you." Although his voice was calm, it was full of threats. Lin Chen kept smiling. He looked at Uncle Tan and said in a low but firm voice, "Lolita shouldn't know about it, right? You don't want Lolita to know that you're doing this to me, right?" Uncle Tan's eyes narrowed slightly, obviously touched by Lin Chen's words. He waved his hand, and 2 old men appeared in front of them instantly. "Steward Tan, is this the boy you want us to help you deal with?" One of the old men in gray clothes looked Lin Chen up and down, and said with some dissatisfaction, "You look down on us too much, don't you? After all, we are also at the Martial King level. You won't let us deal with an ordinary superpower, right?" "That's it. Butler Tan, although we owed you a favor before, you wouldn't let us bully a young man, right? If this gets out, we can't afford to lose this person." Another old man in black also echoed. Uncle Tan frowned. He obviously didn't expect that these 2 old friends would cause trouble for him at this time. He took a deep breath and looked at Lin Chen. "Boy, who made you offend me today? If you had a slightly better attitude, I might consider letting you go. But there are not so many ifs in the world." Lin Chen listened to Uncle Tan's threat, but just shook his head slowly. That's a lot of nonsense. But for the sake of King Bronzebird, I will hold back. The words just fell. He stepped lightly, followed by a low thunder. The whole person disappeared between heaven and earth in an instant. Chapter 174. It's always fun to have SX for free. Lin Chen's figure suddenly disappeared, and this change made Uncle Tan's face instantly solemn. He hurriedly turned to the two old men standing next to him, with a hint of urgency in his tone. That boy suddenly disappeared. It's just a bluff, the old man in black responded in a deep voice, and at the same time, the powerful superpowers in his body surged out like a tide, and his sharp eyes scanned the surroundings like ice, trying to catch any clues about Lin Chen. However, before he could find Lin Chen, a sudden loud noise broke the tense and silent atmosphere. Boom! Uncle Tan turned around in shock and saw a purple thunder gun appearing out of thin air. The tip of the gun pointed directly at his chest. His expression suddenly changed, and he quickly dodged. The old man in black also reacted extremely quickly. He activated his superpower and punched the approaching thunder gun. The two collided and erupted with a deafening roar. Boom! Energy shock waves overflowed, and even Uncle Tan and the two old men, who were quite powerful, staggered back due to the force. Although the old man in black blocked the blow, the price was not small. His face instantly turned pale, and a mouthful of blood spurted out, staining his front red. When Uncle Tan saw this, he was horrified, but as a member of the Bronzebird family, he had to step forward at this moment. He shouted loudly, "You two old guys, this is not your usual level. If you lose, our Bronzebird family will be humiliated." The old man in black glared at Uncle Tan and snorted coldly, "What do you need to say? I know it well. However, this kid is indeed not simple. Old way, let's use combination skills, otherwise you will also suffer." The old man in gray clothes frowned when he heard this, but did not refute. "Just use it, but don't say it in such a scary way." Mysterious Firethorn Array. This low mantra came out slowly from the mouths of the two old men, as if it contained a mysterious magic power. Immediately afterwards, the space tens of meters in front of them began to distort violently, as if it was affected by some powerful force. As the space distorts, the surrounding temperature also rises sharply, and a burning smell fills the air. Between the electric light and flint, thick fire pillars condensed. These fire pillars were 10 feet high, burning blazingly, emitting astonishing heat. What's even more surprising is that these fire pillars seem to have sharp thorns attached to them, shining with dangerous light. Even if you are far away from these fire pillars, you can still feel the powerful power they exude, as if they will be melted instantly once touched. Lin Chen couldn't help but be surprised when he saw this sudden display of supernatural powers. He originally thought that the dwarves were all useless, but now it seems that he obviously underestimated them. There was a smile on his face, which was the excitement for fighting and the anticipation for the upcoming challenge. As Lin Chen's thoughts moved slightly, the purple thunder guns behind him instantly changed from 1 to 10, flashing with sharp lightning, as if they were ready to attack at any time. "Boy, we originally just wanted to play with you, but now, I'm sorry, you have to die," the old man in black said angrily, his voice full of murderous intent. "Go to hell." As soon as he finished speaking, those huge fire pillars were like launched missiles, slamming into Lin Chen wherever the pillar of fire passed. Everything was melted by the high temperature, showing its astonishing destructive power. However, facing this menacing attack, Lin Chen seemed unusually calm. "I'm afraid I won't die," he said calmly, with no fear on his face. As his thoughts moved slightly, 10 thunder guns were like bullets fired from the barrel, directly facing the pillars of fire. The huge pillar of fire and the thunder gun collided fiercely in the air, erupting into amazing energy fluctuations. The entire city seemed to be shaking under the impact of this force. But what is shocking is that those seemingly indestructible fire pillars split apart at the moment they collided with the thunder gun, as if they were destroyed by the powerful power contained in the thunder gun. "Damn it, this kid is too powerful. We are no match. Run!" the old man in black shouted in horror, his face full of fear and unwillingness. Before he finished speaking, he ran back without looking back. The old man in gray clothes and Uncle Tan also followed closely and fled in a hurry. However, Lin Chen was not the kind of person who would let his enemies go easily. He looked at the three fleeing people coldly, and a murderous intention surged in his heart. He chased after him, and his speed instantly increased to several times supersonic speed. As if a purple lightning flashed across the sky, he walked through the streets and finally came to a wasteland. He saw that Uncle Tan and others had stopped there, seeming to be waiting for him. "Aren't you going to run? Why don't you run?" Lin Chen asked coldly, his voice full of ridicule. "We can't run." The old man in black smiled bitterly and said, "You are indeed very powerful. We are no match for you. Actually, you shouldn't have run away in the first place," Lin Chen said lightly. "If you had just said sorry to me, I might be able to forgive you for being unreasonable." But now, it's too late. Do you think you can really kill us? The old man in black sneered and shook his head. In any case, Iron Forge is the territory of our Bronzebird family. You may be very powerful, but you definitely don't dare to run wild here. So much nonsense. Lin Chen looked at the old man in black and the others with a sinister look. I'm going to show you now who talks the most nonsense. He was preparing to take down these people to avoid changes. However, at this moment, a sound of mechanical operation came from not far away. Rumble. The sound echoed over the wasteland like muffled thunder as the sound approached. From a building not far away, a giant steel beast nearly dozens of feet in size suddenly appeared, rushing towards the wasteland. Here it is huge and looks like a transformer, but its speed is much faster than transformers. And it has already approached the wasteland in a few breaths. As the giant steel beast approached, Lin Chen finally saw its true appearance. This is simply a hybrid and extended version of Decepticon and Megatron. Its whole body is covered in solid steel armor, exuding a cold metallic luster. Its eyes flashed with red light, like two burning flames. Seeing such a behemoth rushing towards him, even as powerful as Lin Chen, he couldn't help but feel his heartbeat. Mechas can have SX for free again. Chapter 175 Earth Level Mecha, Badian. HMPH, boy, you are in trouble this time. Look at this. This is an Earth Level Mecha, named Badian. It is a masterpiece forged by the great King Bronzebird himself. Did you know? In the place where King Bronzebird is among all the mechas forged, this one can at least be ranked among the top 10. More importantly, this mecha has a unique ability. That is, it can learn, refine and improve itself every time it participates in a battle. Skills. I can say without exaggeration that from the moment it was created, this mecha has learned experience from thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of battles. Uncle Tan's eyes swept across the crowd, his face filled with pride and confidence, and finally his eyes fixed on Lin Chen. Listening to Uncle Tan's show-off, Lin Chen had a deep smile on his face. He murmured in a low voice, Earth Level Mecha, right? When Uncle Tan saw Lin Chen's reaction, the mockery on his face became even stronger. He continued, boy, even if you want to escape now, it's too late. Just wait to be dealt with by me. When I take you down, I will prepare to ravage you and let you know how powerful I am. Uncle Tan seemed to have foreseen the dawn of victory, and his words were full of provocation and disdain. In this vast wasteland, with the arrival of the Badian Mecha, the originally empty space seemed to have become smaller. The entire wasteland was filled with a powerful aura of energy, as if foreshadowing the upcoming fierce showdown. This powerful aura made everyone present feel an invisible sense of oppression, and at the same time they were full of expectations and curiosity for the upcoming showdown. Old Tan, look at how you guys look so embarrassed. A mocking voice came from inside the mecha, as if it was a bit playful. If I don't come to support you, I'm afraid you guys really don't know what to do, right? If I go back and describe your miserable situation to the elders, I guess they will wake up laughing even in their dreams. The sounds coming from inside the mecha seemed more like watching a good show than sincerely providing assistance. Damn it, I asked you to come here to help. It would be better for you to hide aside and watch the show. Uncle Tan wiped the sweat from his face and looked a little annoyed at the mecha's ridicule. Do you think I don't want to capture this kid as soon as possible? I think this kid has some abilities, and I want to take him back to show the king. Maybe I can get some credit. Ha ha ha, take it back. There was a burst of laughter inside the mecha, and the entire mecha vibrated with the laughter. Old Tan, I'm afraid you don't have that ability. That's enough. Stop talking nonsense and get started, Uncle Tan shouted with a red face. Don't worry, don't worry. The voice inside the mecha was still playful and relaxed, but suddenly, the owner of the voice seemed to have discovered something. Huh? Why does this kid have a familiar aura on him? Uncle Tan said impatiently. It doesn't matter what your breath is. Are you going to do it or not? Hey, just do it, the voice inside the mecha said with a hint of pride. Ever since I used this mecha, I have never lost a fight. As soon as he finished speaking, the tyrant mecha made a series of creaking mechanical sounds, and its huge body disappeared from the wasteland in an instant. Lin Chen was originally watching the show on the sidelines, but he didn't expect that the mecha would appear in front of him the next second and punched him. Suddenly the power contained in this punch was so terrifying that the surrounding space felt like it was being torn apart. Feeling the threat of the mecha, Lin Chen did not dare to stand idly by anymore. He moved his body and nimbly avoided the fierce attack of the tyrant mecha. Yet, he's pretty good at it. A faint voice came from inside the mecha. But if you can only avoid it, you may not be so lucky next time. Then can you block my blow? Before the tyrant mecha's laughter stopped, the huge mecha issued an unusual warning. All the mecha comrades in the body suddenly became strangely agitated, and a huge black saber was pulled out from the mecha's waist. At this time, Lin Chen's figure had already flashed in front of the tyrant mecha. However, not only Lin Chen, but also several thunder guns behind him followed closely behind, mixed with a powerful divine thunder. The sound of Lazilla kept ringing, and then it was smashed hard. At this moment, tyrant mecha suddenly waved a black saber in its hand, slashing at the opponent with a fierce momentum bang. With a deafening bang, the thunder gun and saber collided fiercely in the air, causing sparks to fly. At first glance, the saber seemed to be intact, but the face of the controller of the tyrant mecha showed indescribable bitterness. The saber was actually on the verge of damage. At the moment of collision, the operator had to quickly mobilize all available energy to stabilize the saber and prevent it from shattering. Despite this, the tyrant mecha was severely knocked back by this powerful attack. If the old man in black and the old man in gray had not come to help in time, the consequences would have been disastrous. Damn it, this guy is really not simple, someone exclaimed. Warning signals continued to emit from inside the mecha, and the originally domineering tyrant mecha seemed a little powerless and weak at the moment. Ha, I thought you were so powerful, but you were defeated by this kid. Uncle Tan seized the opportunity and taunted, as if he wanted to regain his previous position in one fell swoop. Do you think he'll be fine? The controller of tyrant mecha retorted harshly. At this moment, Lin Chen suddenly vomited blood and was obviously seriously injured. He didn't mean to show weakness, but he really underestimated the strength of this tyrant mecha. This Earth-level mecha was indeed extraordinary, completely different from the mysterious level mecha he had encountered before. Recalling the ease with which he had dealt with Zhuan-level mechas before, Lin Chen couldn't help but sigh with emotion. At that time, he could easily resolve the battle in almost a minute. However, now, even if he condenses 10 thunder guns, it only causes some shock to the tyrant mecha, and he even gets injured as a result. I guess it will be difficult for you to display such destructive powers now. The operator of the tyrant mecha raised his saber and laughed mockingly. As soon as he finished speaking, the huge saber split into two with a crunching sound, shining with a cold light. You are the second person who can force me to use my double swords, the controller of tyrant mecha said coldly. You are indeed a respectable opponent, but I'm sorry, I won't kill you. Of course, the premise is that you can no longer display the powerful abilities you had before. Lin Chen remained silent. He knew that the other party was right. Although he had only used 10 thunder guns just now, he had already spent a lot of mental power. The power of those 10 thunder guns even exceeded the destructive power he exerted with all his strength, which forced him to reevaluate his own strength. However, he did not give up. Lin Chen had a crazy idea in his heart, and he wanted to try a brand new tactic. So, under the gaze of everyone, his clone suddenly appeared and stood side by side with him. But Lin Chen did not launch an attack immediately, but fell into brief contemplation. He is considering an extremely risky plan. Let's bet the bicycle will turn into a motorcycle. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.